Oh yeah, I'm with this, I'm just gonna lay back and I'ma drop some smooth lyrics. So tune in 7 to 9:30 and don't be late. We about to set it straight. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Word. I'm ready, let's go. Ain't no half stepping, that's the name of the show. Yeah, Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunters talk sprinkled with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you wanna talk about, call in, we hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. The word on the street, Wizard Earl on the beat. We superb in the B, legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, my brother. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, this Marcus Stage start to talk, running back. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, this Marcus Stage start to talk. Steppin, that's the name of the show. Yeah, Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunters talk sprinkled with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you wanna talk about, call in, we hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. The word on the street, Wizard Earl on the beat. We superb in the D, legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, my brother. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, this Marcus Stage start to talk. Oh yeah, I'm with this, I'm just gonna lay back and I'ma drop some smooth lyrics. So tune in 7 to 9:30 and don't be late. We about to set it straight. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Word. I'm ready, let's go. Ain't no half stepping, that's the name of the show. Yeah, Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah, Hunters talk sprinkled with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you wanna talk about, call in, we hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. The word on the street, Wizard Earl on the beat. We superb in the D, legacy online. 7 to 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J, my brother. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, this Marcus Stage start to talk, running back. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, before force. And listen up, this Marcus Stage start to talk.
All right, y'all. Ain't no half stepping. Marcus J is live. We are in the building, ready to have an outstanding show. We do at this time every single week. Happy y'all to get to it. We got a lot to get to. We usually tease it here. Actually, I will tease it here. We're gonna talk about the Black Panther. I finally seen it. Last week we tempered. You haven't seen it? Okay, so you haven't seen it. Okay, all right. We're gonna talk about what went down at the Barclays in support of Kyrie Irving. We'll just tease it that way. We got to talk about the young sister who went on a vacation trip and did not come home to her family. It's a lot going on. There's more to the show tonight than that, but that is a good start for us tonight. Tonight, you are listening, watching, and participating, experiencing the flagship show of Legacy Internet Radio. We call this Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J. It's live right now.
Mm, mm, mm.
Yeah. It's about that time. It's about that time to get. Yeah.
Button your lip, open your ears, strap on your thinking cap. Socially conscious talk that's entertaining with a dash of humor and the top sports stories of the week. It's time for Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J.
Sellers has Jordan. Jordan with 2 seconds to go. Puts it up and scores at the buzzer. Michael Jordan has won it for Chicago. Manning lobs it. Burris alone. Touchdown, New York.
Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. He hits one deep to right center. That ball is out of here. The Yankees win the pennant.
Ain't No Half Stepping with Marcus J is live. We are in the building. We appreciate y'all rocking with us tonight. Normally, this is where I would give the phone number, but I'm suspending the phone lines indefinitely. We've had some technical stuff going on with it, so we're going to move on without it. And if you have questions, comments, anything that you want to get in on the show tonight, just go ahead and drop it in the feed. Same place that if you were watching and listening to us live, then you have access to drop it in the feed. And of course, we'll still take those comments. So we won't be able to comment on them live if you drop them in on us after hours, but we'll certainly read all of the comments and be happy that you joined us. But thank you, by the way, for rocking with us here at Ain't No Half Step with Marcus J on Legacy Internet Radio. Very happy because I see an old-time friend is joining us tonight. He hasn't joined us in quite a while, and I see my brother Sam is there. Sam, I'm so happy. I just asked our brother Dennis about you literally the last time I saw him not long ago. So good to see you there, and we appreciate you, bro. We appreciate you. We're also getting some love from our brother Ernest Porter. Ernest Porter, of course, you know, is our author brother who joined us a few weeks ago here. And Ernest, I tell you, every time you check in, by all means, drop your stuff here in the feed or in our Legacy and that radio page is probably a better place for it because we find that you are a part of what we do here now. So by all means, use the platform that we have here to promote yourself. Shout out to our brother James. James is saying happy Monday night, family. So peace to James as well. Salutations to everybody who is rocking with us. And those are the folks who have checked in with us so far. So this is the time, this is the point where I can introduce the usual suspects. And you can see them on the screen, but you haven't heard from them yet. And of course, I always introduce our brother first. He is sitting across the table with me, from me, and he's my brother John. Peace to you, brother. How you doing, man?
Bro, you know, it's like same thing last week, man. I'm just
and the week before
so
that.
incredible. It's like I was
that.
just talking to Steph and saying I wish I had that thing that lets people complain about shit. I guess it's I don't want to sound, bigoted, but like I wish I had that part of the white people gene where I could just complain about some shit that ain't really nothing to complain about.
That's the craziest shit I ever heard you say.
But it's just listen.
Word. Never met a black person that complains about nothing.
Oh no, they do. They do all the damn time. But I'm just saying, they usually when they're complaining about some stuff, they're usually in a kind of a tight situation. They still don't need to be complaining though, because it ain't doing no good. But white people be in a superior position on a higher plateau, complaining about some shit that somebody that is doing much worse than them is doing. I just know that
you had to get your shot in, man. I can dig it.
I know that amongst the world, the 8 billion people on this planet, I know I'm in the top million easy. So I can't. What am I gonna complain about?
I can dig it, brother.
I just can't do it.
I'm tickled each week because
Look, you know me, right?
Yeah, well, I do know you, and
so
I know
I can sit here and for about an hour run off some shit that ain't right. But
I know how sincere you are every week when you say it. And that's why once I serve it up, I just sit back and let you go until it's time for me to pass the con over and to our sister who is here. I see her, you see her. She's sitting off to my right side because she is my right hand. She is our co-host here on our show. You know, hashtag with Mark and Jay's own our sister Steph B. Yay. Yay.
Want to
I
officially have my nickname for Steph.
Oh Lord.
Steph.
Don't be making the ladies mad, John.
Steph is my Bobe.
Bobe,
What is
yes.
a Bobe?
I
What?
like that.
That's cute.
I
Look,
do
I'm
like
blushing
that.
and I don't even know what it means.
That's Bobe.
Oh man, I like that.
Bobe. I'm so slow today. I'm a blonde today.
So
I love that. The Bobe.
I like that.
Listen.
I didn't get an opinion here.
It's a 1 in a million. I accept graciously.
Yeah, I like that.
That's so cute.
I do. I like that, John. I tell you,
gosh.
every once in a while, boy, you come through.
Yeah,
Man.
I just
don't
finished
know.
telling him. See, and I said, John, you make a girl. You know how to make a girl blush. And he's like, what do you mean? Yeah, right. See, that's those light-skinned shenanigans from the 80s. They try to act like they don't know.
He's so cool. John comes through.
Look, we don't
10
know.
minutes before the show. He comes through 10 minutes before the show, every show. Hey, look.
Oh my God.
He comes through.
Yes. Yeah.
He comes through 10 minutes before the show, every show.
Cheers, bro. Cheers. No, I seriously, I came in and I almost shed a few tears, and then y'all brothers was being all sweet and kind. And, I want to be like John and say I don't have anything to. No, I'm out.
No, you good.
Am I? Okay.
That was me.
I want to be like John and say I don't have anything to complain about. I guess I don't have anything to complain about except for my own choices. Because I am I really don't like to use coach, but I'm certified to assist people in 5 different areas of life. And I tell people the one area I am not certified as an expert is male, female, or love relationships. I am not a love coach. I don't, and truly I'm certified. I can show you the documents, but it is not in the relationship area. And it's for a reason, because I got my own shit to work on.
Yeah.
I'm great at communicating. The men I don't have conjugal visits with, I communicate very well, very well. But every other man, it's just.
You're like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, I'm like, am I not speaking the same language?
No.
I clearly not.
Man, we speak it real different.
Yeah.
We speak it real different, and it's an effort to try to it's an effort to try and translate so that you can understand, women can understand us, and we can understand women.
Well, and I think it also requires, there's this thing too, that no matter what kind of situation it is, a friendship or a relationship, is a couple things. One, understand other people's love language. I'm big on that with my friends. I used to teach the love language course. And I like to know what triggers my girlfriends, because not knowing your love language can be as detrimental as knowing it and ignoring it. Right. And so for me, I'm not really a words of affirmation person. It's nice.
I am. Say
and
nice shit.
Geminis are naturally words of affirmation.
Say
people.
nice shit about me. Especially if I rock with you and you see me working with you. Yes. Say the nice shit.
And the funny thing about it is that I'm gonna give you, I'm gonna hype you up because I love to see people win.
Yeah.
But I am more of a gifts are my love language, and so it's quality time. And a gift is, I know people, that's the one love language that people often beat up on because they immediately turn it into materialism. And certainly for Black men, a lot of times there's a perception that if Black women expect anything. We're gold diggers, or we want. Mind you, none of my white friends date poor, broke, or needy. But they're not gold diggers, you know. None of my Latina friends either. No broke, poor, or needy, but you know, not they're spicy. They're not gold diggers. For me, it is sometimes the gift is an easy yes. Because it is very hard for me to ask people for help. I rarely ask for assistance. I rarely express that I'm in need. I accept most phone calls where people need to speak to me about them. I'm always in a position of where I'm coaching or consulting. By nature, it's my job. And then, unfortunately, even my friends, not unfortunately, because I love to be there for my friends, but my friends take wise advantage of that. When I speak to a man, I need soft yes. I need compliance. I need willingness. These are needs. This is not a want. I need a willingness to demonstrate care and concern. And sometimes the gift is an errand. The gift is time. The gift is hearing me. The gift isn't always monetary or tangible. It's things that somebody else cannot easily come in and do. And so I know that people are not prepared often in relationships to understand love languages and how they translate. And that's when I become hard to deal with.
And you know, #Steppin Marcus J live from New Den Legacy Internet Radio. We got some salutations that we need to get in here. So let's go ahead and let's do that. First, we're getting some love in Minnesota. Uncle H is checking in.
What up, Unc?
Yeah. The inspiration of Legacy Internet Radio is calling, and that's the brother Jay Grizzy.
What's up, cuz?
Yeah, peace to you, brother. Peace to you. Also, peace to Legacy Internet Radio alumni. I swear, you're not gonna believe me, but I was just thinking about you when I looked up and saw your comment, because I'm agreeing with what Steph is saying, but she's also saying something that sounds familiar to me as well. Just like you, this is Coach Miz of Twi After Dark. And he has a phrase that he would use that has been resonating in my spirit lately, particularly with some of the relationships that I find myself in. And effort and enthusiasm cost you nothing. He used to say that. He used to say it all the time.
Is this the beardless version of Sean?
I don't know if this, huh? You're not gonna see lights.
Well,
we did.
So we don't know if it's the beardless version.
No, we don't know.
I'll take that anyway. So it's effort and enthusiasm.
Effort and enthusiasm cost you nothing.
It really doesn't.
Yeah.
But you know, it pays off.
Of course it does.
It pays off.
Of course it does.
You know, I am tremendously enthusiastic when a man, because my sisters say yes by the nature of who they are and the pressures they're under. They will offer themselves when they have very little time or energy, you know, and sometimes I want that thing. I want that. She asked me to do something that internally I don't necessarily want to do, but I'm going to show an enthusiasm for doing it.
Effort and enthusiasm costs you nothing. It's same energy. Same energy. Because if we can't do that, you know, and I think often we get caught up. When you talked about a minute ago, you talking about, you know, I don't need to buy stuff. I mean, the stuff like that. Like how same energy is exchanged can be different.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just show me that you rock with me like I rock with you. And we good. Yes. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's important to understand the love language thing. Because, you know, some folks don't know their love language.
And the test is free online. It's important. I send the link to people that I think I'm forming relationships with. Early on, we talked about it. But I have girlfriends that will tell you, I send the link. I'm like, take that test. Tell me what your love language is.
You know the problem? The only problem with the love language test? About 40% of people who take it lie. But, and that's the sad part.
I never, every time I've taken one of them, I
was going to say that.
Shooter.
Statistically, that's not
because the people who are invested in trying to get an outcome that's positive ain't going to lie on that.
Right.
Test.
Now I was a sales trainer. People would lie all the time on sales tests. And the great thing about it is when you're trained to review those things, you can see the pattern of lying, right? You
No,
can.
it's not. See,
but on love language tests, my experience, having run the course and everything else, most people, because it is very self-centered, it really is a process of, this is about me. And I can't win or lose. I can only win if you know this. Most people are very honest on it.
I'll break that down because I went through it and I did a couple of things online with it. It's not an intentional lie. What it is people see the questions, and as opposed to giving the answer, they give the answer that they think it's supposed to be.
Somebody needs to teach them how to take it better then.
Right? No, but it's a natural thing. Like it might be 4 choices or 5 choices, and one of the choices, it might be what they want to say, but when they read, when they hear it,
be perceived
it don't
a certain
sound
way.
right. Like I like, when to say, how do you like? Do you like to get gifts all the time? You like to get money? They be like, I don't want to say that.
I don't have any problem saying it.
But people, I'm just saying.
I know plenty. I'm just saying, speaking for women, and I really do send it to a lot of my girlfriends and I make it clear to them, I'm sending you this because I want to serve you the way you want to be served. I don't want us to have the kind of relationship you might be having with those men out there. I really don't. So this is more about you. And I have plenty of friends, ironically, who their love languages, they were shocked by them. And some of them were like, well, I didn't think I liked presents that much. People like, in love language, the one that is gift giving, you're right. That would be the one that people would lie about.
There's a few of them. There's a few of them where people just feel like that's not the right.
Which one besides love language?
I can't think of it right now, but as you're going through it, there's a couple of them where the answers to the average person appear like that's the wrong thing to say. Like that's what a bad person says.
Yeah, I kind of disagree on that.
Well, I looked at a few. I'll try to look for the stuff I looked at with searching the love language test, and it came back and they said 40% of people, not all the questions, but 40% of the people who take it on at least 2 of the questions give a wrong answer because they feel that that's not a nice thing.
I wouldn't disagree that some people would question it, but I used to administer the standard that went with the book and everything else. And for the most part, there would even be a lot of people would be like, I knew that was going to be it. I knew that was going to be, because they would think about their behavior. It's like, and also let's be real. If you are someone that spends time with people, you know what their love language is. Often you're the one ignoring it because people complain to you about the things that are not speaking their love language. Women who don't want to spend a lot of time with you will not complain about time. So there's a level of intuition necessary in it with your partner too. Like, I think we are emotionally obtuse as humans. We will be in someone's space. They will show us through body language, verbiage, or whatever, what's displeasing them, which will tell you what is important to them, and we will ignore it. And the fact of the matter is, most complaints are driven from a feeling, and feelings are factual for people when they're dealing with their emotions.
I'll tell you what, I think people have truly overcomplicated it to make money out of it. My opinion is it comes right down to the golden rule. You treat other people the way you want to be treated. That's the first rule. The second rule is capable. When a person does a thing, that's the thing that they're capable of doing. If you don't like that thing, then get away from that person. Because if they ever did it, they're probably going to do it again. No matter how much they tell you, I'll never do that again, or I don't know what was going on. It was because of this. It was because of that. It's because of whatever. You have the capability and the ability to do these things. You are not my kind of people, right? I remember a time a friend of mine, a great friend of mine, Brett, he told his daughter had went to hang out with a friend of hers, and her friend lived in not a good area. And he went to pick her up, and she got in the car, and he said to her, let me ask you a question. He said, "Are those people our kind of people?" And she took a second and she was like, "No." He said, "Well, then you don't need to be around. They're not our kind of people. You know the kind of people we are. You're around our family. You know who we are.
Yeah.
That's not our kind of people. Find your tribe, ladies, gentlemen. Find your tribe. That's the first thing. Be with your tribe. Tribalism is important, and then treat people the way you want to be treated, not the way they treat you. That doesn't work because y'all
It
both
doesn't.
wound up jacked up.
That's the key.
It doesn't.
If you like to get handed a cup of coffee in the morning, hand your mate a cup of coffee in the morning or tea, whatever it is they drink in the morning. Hand it to them. And don't expect for them to ever hand it to you. You do that for them because that's what you like for yourself, and let the natural progression go on. If they never hand you a cup of coffee, it shouldn't be a big deal because that's not why you're doing it. You're doing it because that's how you want, and that goes for the whole world.
You really think it's just treat people the way you want to be treated?
Absolutely.
See, and I feel like because I treat myself well, I do want to treat other people well, but I want to treat them well according to their needs. Because what I recognize is, and I've seen this, I might be a gift person. I'm a gift and quality time person. But me lobbing gifts at Marcus, if we're a couple, that's not going to speak to Marcus. And he will know, and he may, and I've heard plenty of people say this, well, that's how he feels love. I think it's important. Yeah, that's great to know how you feel love. But I stick wholly to the fact that people want to feel like they're being loved within the space that they evaluate as loving.
Here goes
because
the problem.
if you come to me and you're just like, you're great, but that doesn't sit with me. That doesn't carry me. But if you come through and you're like, look, I went on vacation and I brought you back this bottle of sand with pearls or whatever, and I'm like, oh, you thought about me. It triggers how I feel about the way you love me differently.
Here's the only problem I have with that. In any relationship, the other person's needs are not your resposibility.
But my
people
wants
need
are.
to people
and I need to be loved the way I need to be loved.
But people, whatever it is you need to be satisfied within yourself. Another person should not ever be held responsible for your happiness.
Yeah, I don't agree.
That's not the same thing, though.
When you enter,
being loving to me, and I'm gonna let Mark have it because I know you'll run the show. But being loving to me in a language that I understand, that's not feeding neediness. I'm secure, I'm stable, I'm capable. I love me, I'm happy with me. But if I'm not talking to you about the time we spend together, and that's how you keep resolving an issue, when you're not speaking the love language I need to hear.
And you know what that means?
And we don't belong together. You could say we don't belong together. You could say that. That's absolutely true. You could say that. Or you could say you're not willing to intentionally make someone aware that you love them in the way they need to be loved. Yeah. And then that's okay too, because I can go and find a person
because you shouldn't have to.
That's
not genuine. If I'm changing my characteristics,
that's not a characteristic.
If my nature is to do things one way, and I change my nature in order to just
your nature.
It is. If it's not what I would do regularly,
it's not what you would do for you.
No. If it's not,
and aren't relationships about the reciprocity of things?
Relationships is about compatibility, not reciprocity.
Yeah, but don't act like compatibility ends at one level.
I
John.
understand.
Come on now.
I understand what you're saying. I just don't agree with you, and I think that's the reason. Why a lot of relationships fail, like capital letters, all fail. Because there is no reciprocity. That's what saying.
But I think that's why they fail, because they expect reciprocity.
Hold on, man. You should expect reciprocity. Why am I here? I'm with you just so that I can give you what you want, or you here just so you can give me what I want.
Or you're here to give me what you want me to have.
Isn't this supposed to be an exchange? And if the answer to that is yes, then isn't that what reciprocity is? Aren't I with you because you can provide things to me that I need, and I can provide things to you that you need.
No,
Isn't
Yes.
that
no,
that-
that's
that hold on?
okay.
Isn't that the essence of what compatibility means by definition? I am compatible with you because you're able to give me the things that I need, and I'm able to give you the things that you need. That's
We're a puzzle
compatibility,
piece. We
and
fit
that's
together.
reciprocity. So I'm gonna let you make this last point, and then we're gonna move on.
I don't believe that's compatibility. I believe that is, that is a situation where people are in a situation where they have needs and they can't supply their own need, and they look for somebody else to supply things that they cannot supply on their own. I believe true compatibility is being able to have two people and coexist in the same space, right? Without issue, right? Because y'all are fulfilled as individuals. I think people need to stop looking for somebody else to fulfill them.
Yeah, two
Be
different
fulfilled.
things.
Be fulfilled.
Two different things.
If you're fulfilled, listen.
Two different
If you're
things.
fulfilled
I
in
think we are
yourself,
talking about
We're not even
No,
talking
but-
about the
but
same thing.
I-
You think we are, but we're really not.
I'm gonna tell you why
I can
believe
tell
we are.
that we're not by what you're saying.
But,
Yeah.
but let
I
me
would
let me
agree. No,
finish
I
it,
wouldn't.
and we'll see if we agree
I
to
already
disagree.
know, but go ahead.
Right?
We've already agreed to disagree.
If
The
I
drinks are good, but not that good.
Yeah.
listen, I feel
I'ma
like
drink my
this.
drink too.
We've already.
I don't expect anything from anyone in a relationship, because I'm gonna be me. Be you. Be
That's
who
problematic.
be
John.
who you are. And if I like who you are and you like who I am, then we can spend time together for as long as we can spend time together. But I'm not looking for you to give me anything. I'm not looking for
It's
you to
not
fix
that.
That's a-
anything
It's
in
not
my
that.
character. I don't
It's not
need
that.
I don't need you to respond to me in a certain way or whatever. If we get
That's the
along,
problem.
no.
If
If
that's how you
because-
move.
But
No.
that's okay for
But
you.
no.
But
Let me tell you,
hurts
but I'll tell you why.
relationships.
Because if you're not responding to me and how I like, we ain't gonna be together in the first place.
Okay.
Here's the problem: people aren't courting. People aren't taking time to get to know each other. People are getting into what they believe are committed relationships before they even know who the hell they dealing with. And then as things go on and they realize who they with, and they realize they don't like this person, now it's about all of this. Oh, you're not giving me what I want.
Now I
They
know.
was never gonna give you what you
now
wanted.
I know we're talking about different stuff.
They was
Yeah.
never
you
gonna
making
give
it
you
more
what you
plain the
wanted.
more you talk that we're talking about different things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we
Well,
talk-
look, let's move for the sake of the show. We
Yeah,
can move.
Yeah,
we-
that
well,
was way off. Yeah,
yeah, we're
from
not
what
talking-
I'm talking.
Look, well, I just feel like that. I feel
I'm
like
a-
I'm gonna treat a person the way I want to be treated. I'm not looking for anything back from them. I want them to be who they are. If I enjoy their company of them being their genuine self, that is enough for me. Just the body.
I'll
I don't
take
think
that-
we're not saying that. I don't.
I'll
yeah,
take
it's
the last
different.
word here. I agree with how you led that, the way you started, the part where you said, "I treat people how I want to be treated," because I do, and y'all been around me enough to know that's just how I am. That's some real stuff. But having said that, there are certain expectations of certain people based upon how I move with them and how they move with me, that I expect certain things. And I think you do as well. If I moved funny, you'd be like, damn, Marcus moved funny. And your reason would be, my expectation of him is to move this way, but now he's moving funny. So that's an expectation. And I don't know if it was be a need, but it's certainly an expectation.
I don't have expectations.
Fair enough.
I
You-
let people do
you-
how they do,
you-
and
you-
if they
you-
not do what
fair
I
enough.
like, I walk away from
Okay,
them.
fair enough. You said that.
Expectation is the birthplace of
I got you.
disappointment.
I got you.
I'm gonna pray
I
for you,
don't-
brother.
I
I'ma
don't-
pray for
I don't agree with it,
you.
but I believe that that's how you feel.
Woo,
So
the ladies are listening.
yeah,
John.
but I don't think he's worried
He
about
don't
that either.
care.
But I posted a meme 2 days ago that is a perfect capper or cap to this conversation before we move on. Let me get a couple comments in. Uncle H says, I believe in courting. Absolutely. He believes in courting. And Sam says, but are you willing to work towards that end? That's a fair question. That's a fair question
What's
as well.
his question once again?
He's saying, but are you willing to work towards that end? So, I think what he's saying is based upon how we relate to each other, are we willing to work towards each other? I think that's a fair,
and that's huge.
I think that's a fair question, and I think that speaks towards.
But I hear no, I'm out.
I
No,
think
as long
that,
as you don't come out of character. That's all. That's what I'm saying. Do whatever you do within your character. The minute you start trying to change who you are to adapt, I don't want it because it ain't genuine. Because I'm not gonna do it.
that's fair.
You're only gonna get 100% me all the time.
But even in that, I think you're still talking about something different than what we're talking about, because being in your character and never changing your character, nobody has asked you to do that. But when you're in the context of this conversation, in context of conversation, But we'll just have to disagree, because if I'm with a person, whether it be romantic or platonic, if I move in a certain way, I don't expect you to do certain things, but yeah, there's certain ways that I think that you should be moving based upon how you've moved in the past and how I move with you. That's the essence of what reciprocity is all about. Because if you see how I move with you and you receive and you accept it, there's certain expectations that I think is fair that the person that's taking care of you, that you would take care of them. That's what reciprocity is about. Now, compatibility, completely different thing, because I could be taking care of you. You're not capable of taking care of me. Two different things. We're not talking about the same stuff.
Right.
Now,
that is different.
The last thing that I'll say is a meme that I posted 2 days ago that's absolutely perfect. I posted this meme years ago, and it's one that I recycle. And it says, I love because my love is not dependent on the object of love. My love is dependent on my state of being. So whether the other person changes, becomes different, friend turns into foe, does not matter, because my love was never dependent on the other person. My love is a state of being. I simply love. That's me. That's how I am. I think that's how you are. I think where you and I have a bit of a disconnect is when you're dealing with personal relationships with people who you love and who know you love them, and the reciprocity is not the same. You take care of somebody and they just look at you when you're struggling and just like, oh, okay. You good? Oh, okay. Because, oh, okay. Whenever somebody, oh, okay is you, like, oh, okay is never okay. Especially when someone just shares some shit with you. And your response is, oh, okay. it's just not ever okay to, oh, okay. So, that's reciprocity.
If
that's
I ever got
the
to ask,
energy is
I
not
don't
the
want
same. Huh? If you ever got what else?
If I ever got to ask, I don't want it.
Fair enough.
If it's in you to give, I'll accept.
I can dig that, and see
but I ain't never gonna ask.
That's fair. I think that's fair. I think that's a challenging way to move through life, because it has a way of keeping you strong. You have to be strong. There's armor around you. I can dig that. It sounds like a defense thing. I'm not gonna never ask nobody for nothing. I respect that. If that's how you feel, because depending on who the who is, there are certain who's I'd never ask for anything, but there are certain who's in my life that I think,
that comes with a caveat.
Okay.
Because if I do ask somebody for something, I already know what the answer is.
So you don't ask the
but
question
what I'm doing
answer.
is I'm letting them know they may not know that I'm in need.
Okay.
So I'm not going to create a story for them to then ask me, hey, do you need something? I'm going to just say, hey, I'm in need of X. Help me out.
Right.
That's different.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Because I already know who I'm asking. I know what their abilities and capabilities, and I know the likelihood of their response. You see, so that's different. But what I'm saying is, if I got to push you to it, if I got to lead you to it, if I got to work around and do all this other kind of stuff, I think women sometimes get very frustrated with that, because they're like, I'm trying to get this man to a place. I'm trying to work on him, and I'm sorry, like you.
That part I agree with, but again, different topics. That part I absolutely agree with. That part I will raise my hand.
You just made your way back.
Yes,
Sam,
and I would say guilty on that part. Absolutely.
Sam has the comment of this topic, and the comment of this topic will be the last. And I agree with this 100%. He says, I also do need to be shown, not just told. That's reciprocity.
Yeah, seeing is believing, like doing is
There it
achieving.
is. That's reciprocity and same energy. You either have it or you don't. Ain't no has Steppin, Marcus J. Live from New Den Legacy and that radio. This is where I say my corny line. Let us move on. We're going to move on tonight. We're going to have a conversation. I wanted to talk briefly about the Black Panther. Two of the three of us have seen it. So I won't get into which of the two have seen just because it's irrelevant to the conversation. But I do want to kind of piggyback on the conversation that we had a little bit last week, because there's a lingering. We got a new audience tonight. Some folks that may not have been with us last week. But this thing with Black Panther for me is I love it, but then I really don't love it. I'm talking about our people's response to Black Panther. I love it, but then I really don't love it. And let me tell you what I mean by that. You know, I saw a video of people showing up to the movie theater to see Black Panther, and it was just so extra. I mean, people getting out of the car dressed in the garb, and you know, it's a parade of cars and whatnot. And they all getting out there, and then they putting it on TikTok and the videos of it. And I love us, man, because we're gonna have fun with everything. We're gonna have fun with everything, but I think the part that's really difficult for me is we latched onto Black Panther so strong out of what was a dearth of superheroes for our people. But I keep coming back to, we rally around and fight for a lot of the wrong shit sometimes. Because at the end of the day, it's still a superhero. It just is. And I would love to see people showing up to things that affect us in a convoy like that, like maybe a school board meeting. You know what I'm saying? Right. Maybe the polls to vote. You know, and I'm not trying to be the wet blanket here, because you know, when I saw the first
school board meeting hit me though.
When I saw the first Black Panther movie, yeah, I showed up in my Black Panther t-shirt. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I want to have the fun too. I don't want to be a total downer on this, but I'm just seeing our people get so rallied behind a cartoon character in a movie, and soon as they leave, that kind of energy dissipates for potentially greater things. That's frustrating for me, because up until about maybe 3 or 4 years ago, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, you know, my fist stayed in the air with regards to activism and that sort of thing. You know, I'm tired. I am just simply tired. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later. There's a topic here that we're going to get to where I'm going to speak a little bit more about that. But I'm tired. And I see people my age, our age, who ain't tired when it comes to Black Panther, but when they're real tired when it comes to other stuff. That's just frustrating for me to see. And I don't know if I'm on an island alone here. If I am, I'm used to it. I'm always by myself. I like it here. I like it here. You know, I'm the guy that went to the river yesterday in the cold.
I think I can
I'm that
explain
guy.
it to
so
you.
I don't mind being on an island alone. You know, but John, you got the con. Help me. Help me out here.
I think I could explain it to you, right? People don't like to get in fights they know they're gonna lose, right? So when they get a fight that they think is gonna be an easy win, they try to take that. Black Panther's an easy win. It's not real. It's a movie. Ain't nobody gonna shut them down, even though they did sell a bunch of black people tickets, and then when they got there, they had sold a movie out to some convention. They jacked them people up.
I did not see that.
Yeah, it's real. About 500 black people bought tickets in advance, paid extra money for advance tickets for a showing of Black Panther, and they had sold out the theater for another convention, and had to make those people wait to get them refunds, and it was ridiculous. But my point is, black people want to take the easy win, and Black Panther's an easy win. They're not dealing with an adversary that's going to fight back. It's like every other thing. It's a pleasant distraction. It keeps them calm, right? Keeps them calm for a little while, so nobody starts counting. Like, anybody ever see? If you ain't see the movie Warriors, check out the movie Warriors, right? And the dude said, "Can you count, suckers?"
Yo,
right?
Yo,
And
Uncle A, I'll be to stop you. Uncle A show got jokes. He said funny. They got took. I'm sorry, that was funny. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was funny though.
When the elders come clowning you,
they got took.
Yeah.
Also, on a sidebar, Uncle H looks very dapper in his profile photo.
Get it, Uncle H.
Very dapper.
Yeah.
I like
yes, sir.
But he,
look.
But he also says, "Speak truth, John." He's
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
He's with
So now, like, all this other stuff, like, and we're gonna get into it later with the Kyrie and all this other stuff. Distraction. Don't look at this shiny thing over here. Pay no attention to that man behind the curtain.
All right, I'm gonna ask you a question, and then I want to shift this stuff and get you in here because the question came for you from Sam. Without any spoilers, Sam is asking. So, is the movie worth seeing, John?
1000%. It's one of the. It's
so he just revealed himself as one of the three of us who have seen the movie.
I'm the one.
They knew that. No, we knew that last week.
I was supposed to have a date. Didn't have a date. I'm gonna go see it this weekend by myself.
It's all right. Hey, look, last week I hadn't seen it. I just saw it yesterday.
Let me say this about it. I'll say this about it, right? Independent of being a superhero movie, it's a good movie on its own. It has a fairly decent plot. It's not Citizen Kane. You know what I'm saying?
Spoiler free.
It has a decent plot, but what makes it really worth sitting there for 3 hours damn near is the acting. You're gonna get acting that is above.
Well, look who's in it.
Above. I mean, everybody has
that's low hanging fruit right there.
Yeah,
look who's in it.
But no, but even the people, even the people whose names you're not familiar with, really gave it something. And I believe a big part of that had to do with the fact that this is a follow-up.
Yeah.
Right? For something that was exceptional in its time. And then they really lost Chadwick, which was the plot, which was a central part of the movie of losing the king. And these people channeled that energy of the loss where you could feel it.
Yeah.
You could feel, like I said, 80% of that movie, the audience, if you look over, they're tears.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, don't get too much. That's you getting into the sport. You getting into the sport.
But I'm just saying,
getting close to spoiler.
But it ain't all sad tears.
I got you. You know how Steph Marcus live from New Den Legacy and Radio. Steph, what you got on this topic before I take the final word on it?
I kind of agree that I'm a person. I always say we can walk into chew gum, but I would love to see this level of commitment to the things that are going to impact our day-to-day life. And I think because the midterms are here, you have a runoff down in Georgia. Show up to that runoff voter poll. They now open the polls for Saturday after Thanksgiving, which it was not before. Show up like that every time. Don't just show up when our blackness is on display in a fictional sense. Because the same level of power that is fictionalized and put out there, we could command ourselves if we show up en masse. So I do, when I see how into the festivity of things we get in, it's like when things are fun, we are all in. We're going to show up for the party. We're going to go to a concert looking a certain. We really, really do care about the aesthetic of things culturally. And there is some historical significance to that. But I would love to see that level of energy transferred into the day-to-day, because if this is the last Black Panther movie you get and you don't have the opportunity to experience that level of joy about your people, then what?
Yeah.
I
our brothers and sisters to hear us, me in particular. Like, I'm not coming for y'all on this. I'm
No.
really not. I'm not coming for
And
y'all.
I'm excited to see it.
I'm really not coming for y'all for this. But like John, my experience was a lot of the movie caused a lot of emotion in the theater that I was in. Up to and including my daughter and my wife. And let me just say this: my spoiler-free review of the movie, and then we'll move on to something else. I enjoyed the movie. My mom today, when I was talking to her, she's a wonderful person and great mother. She said to me, "Is this movie the same movie that we would have gotten if Chadwick Boseman was living?" And I said, "This is absolutely not the movie you would have gotten. There's no
Wouldn't have been
way.
able to,
There's
right?
there's no way." I said, without me giving a spoiler, and John gave a little more than I would have given when he talked about how they have to move on without their king. That's not a big, huge revelation. Like, Chadwick Boseman is gone. What the hell you think they was going to do? So obviously, so I appreciate you sharing that. But what I will say about it is every single emotion that you have will get touched. Yes. They will touch every emotion you have will get touched, and they do it in such a appropriate, poiseful way where John mentioned the acting. I saw a video of, what's the young woman's name that plays Shiri? I can't remember her name. Letitia Wright. Letitia Wright?
No,
Letitia Wright.
that's her name.
Letitia Wright and Lupita. I saw them in separate interviews after the movie had been completely filmed, but before it was released, where they both said that when you see them cry in the movie, it was not acting. It was not acting them crying in the scenes where you see them crying in the movie, because you're dealing with the loss of Chadwick Boseman. Like, imagine for a minute what it must have been like for the stars of this movie, because all of the principals, when I say all, and there's another spoiler in what I just said without me saying any more, when I say all of the principals from the original movie were in this movie, all of them were in this movie. And all of them shared the grief of Chadwick Boseman passing away. And so you see it. And so for me, Ryan Coogler was able to capture that. And it was very special because it was the same thing that we as the fans was feeling. You see what I'm saying? So now you see it on the screen, and there's a validation to that. So when a movie or a work of art or a song or a book or a painting or anything that is art from others is given to you or to us, and we feel it in the way that the artist meant it to be felt, that's when you know you hit the jackpot with your craft. So I'm not speaking. None of that is to say, oh, the movie was dope. Oh, it was great. Or the action scenes. I'm not talking about none of that. As y'all know, I'm a naturally emotional dude. Excuse me. So I'm speaking about emotion. And you get plenty of it when you watch this movie. So go in there and be ready for that. Ain't no how Steppin Marcus J. Live from New Den, Legacy in Their Radio. Coach says all the principles were there. It had to be mentally draining. Absolutely. Let's see. Jay Grizzy says, not a dry eye in the house. Wakanda forever. Yeah.
A tear from Jay Grizz.
I didn't shed a tear, but I
cried like a baby.
I didn't shed a tear just because, I'm not above, crying at a movie. I watch Little House on the Prairie every day. I see the same episodes I've been watching for 40 years, and sometimes I cry. So it ain't that.
There's a couple of episodes.
It's just what it is.
Oh,
it didn't elicit. This movie didn't elicit that kind of emotion out of me, but That's just me. That doesn't mean it wasn't there, because grown men and women and children absolutely gonna find something in this movie. If it hits you, you gonna feel it. And there's a few scenes in particular. Now we're getting
One thing.
further down the rabbit hole, and I wanted to
I
get.
appreciate how you talked about this without ruining it for me.
It took
you,
every.
Mark.
You're welcome.
Let me
man.
tell you
You're
something.
welcome.
As I sat in
You
the
know
movie,
what?
as I sat in
You
the
do this
theater,
every time.
I try, man. Actually, I
You
don't,
don't
have
even
to try.
try. I didn't even have,
I don't
it
have to
wasn't
try.
even a try.
I
It
don't
was
even
a
have to try.
do.
I don't have to try.
I'll tell you this.
What you got, bro?
As I sat in the theater before the movie even started, with the opening montage, it took every fiber of my being not to stand up and scream HU, because if you know anything about Chadwick, like,
It was a tribute. It was a
Yeah.
lot of tribute. So we'll leave it there. Ain't no ask that Marcus J.
Man.
Live from New Den,
Okay,
Legacy, Internet, Radio. All right.
Was
So
that y'all Siskel and Ebert moment?
I think it's about as I think that was
that
about
was
as
pretty
close.
good.
That was about as close as
Good.
we're gonna get. So let's move on, y'all. I want to talk about what happened last night in Brooklyn, where NBA basketball player Kyrie Irving made his return to the court. And the irony is that ain't what a lot of folks want to talk about. Folks still want to talk about the controversy. The folks want to talk about the reasons why he had been suspended. And all of those are valid reasons, but a valid conversation piece. Not some valid reasons. Let me retract that. I didn't mean that the way it came out. But what I want to talk about here is the protest outside the Barclays yesterday. You had the Israelites showed up in very, very, very large numbers to support Kyrie Irving. And let's talk about that. Let's get it. John, you up first on this one. The Israelites showed up en masse to support Kyrie Irving in his very first game back. And hold on, before you do that, let me see. Let me make sure I don't have any comments in here. Let's see. Yeah. Now I will make a correction. They don't like to be called anything other than the Israelites. They don't like to be called Hebrew Israelites. They don't like to be called Black Israelites or any of that stuff. I know this because we had him on Ain't No Half Step on Marcus J 3 times. Three times. And let me tell you this. You know, I came away. I know a lot of people have very strong opinions both ways on the Israelites. I came away with a lot of respect for them in a similar way to how I have respect for the Nation of Islam. There is very clear instructions and doctrines in how they're supposed to move. Now, is it amenable to everybody? Absolutely not. And those with stronger pros than me will have a whole lot stronger things to say. But I battled with them. I'm not an easy dude to battle with. I'm just not. And they not easy dudes to battle with. And we did this 3 times for 2.5 hours in the confines of the space that we're in on this show. And everything that I said, they had a Bible verse for it. And their leader would tell the subordinate what it was, and then he would say, "Read,"
Yes.
and they would
The
read
read
it,
is always funny
and they
to
would
me.
read it,
Read.
and then the leader would explain what he just asked the person to read,
Read on.
and they make their point, and they read on, like you said. So it is a very challenging thing to debate them. It's difficult. It's not,
They know this.
it's-
They know
they know
their
they
stuff.
know the Bible very well. Their interpretation, could be debated depending on how well you know the Bible. I'm not one that would ever purport myself as to being a biblical scholar. I'm not. I stayed at Holiday Inn once or twice, and I saw it there.
The Gideons.
I saw
you
it
read the
there. I
Gideon's
thumbed
Bible?
through it. So that's about what I know. But their ability to rally and their ability to form themselves was impressive to me. So I'm not surprised, because regardless of what John or Steph or me or even you guys think about what Kyrie Irving said, he didn't say anything. He tweeted, but that's a different argument for different time. Regardless of how you feel about that, there is a perception that he was favorable towards them, which is the reason why they showed up for him. So I want to completely set that up before we jumped into everything here. And let's hold on a second. Let me make sure. Let me see if I got any comments in here before I get to John. All right, so John, you got the con here. Go ahead and jump in and talk to me. Oh, actually, hold on. I thought I saw a comment, and we did see it. She said good morning. I saw it, but then I didn't see it, and that's why I kept going back and forth. But I see it fully now. So she said, morning, happy Monday. And so we are going to show her same energy, and we're going to look at the camera and say,
Good morning, Sue.
Yeah. Ask Steppin, Marcus J. I just love her, man. Hey, Sue, we need to get together soon. Anyway, John, you got the con. What you got?
Love the Israelites. A lot of close personal friends. That's their thing. Not my thing, for a myriad of reasons. I respect and observe the Shabbos. It's who I am. They kept bringing up what was going on outside, and they tried their best to bait Kyrie, and he wouldn't bite. And one of those low-life colonizers kept saying it was about 100 of your people outside supporting you, about 100 of your supporters, about 100 of your supporters. First of all, I'm absolutely sure, without any hesitation or mental reservation in mind and me, whatever, that Kyrie did not call them.
Yeah, I know that. It's true.
He knows why I'm laughing. He knows why I'm laughing.
Yeah, a lot of people know.
Yeah.
Right? Kyrie did not call them.
Our brothers know.
Yeah. Kyrie did not call them. Right? They showed up and showed out.
Yeah.
Like I also know it was far more closer to 1,100 than 100. It was at least 1,000. And you know how I know? Born and raised in Brooklyn. And I saw the line of men, 3 across, sometimes 4 across, from Dean Street going back to Park Place.
Let me ask you this, because it sounded very Donald Trump to me. I don't care how many people was there. Like, we can see that they was out there. The number for me is not worthy of a back and forth. You clearly think it is, based upon this conversation that we had earlier, and I respect that. I'm just saying I don't care. So I want to know why. First of all, I care more that they were there and they were noticed than how many of them.
But you see, and this is but here goes the issue. These are the things, right?
Yep.
This is what's control. This is what's called controlling the narrative.
Okay.
Spinning and shaping the narrative.
Okay.
Right. So as he repeated at least half a dozen times, 100 of your supporters. That's what now, in the minds of the public, that's what it was.
Were they
100 of Kyrie supporters?
Were they there to support Kyrie?
No, they were there to make a statement
in support of Kyrie.
in support of the book.
Okay. But
Kyrie did not call them. They were not out.
doesn't
Nobody
matter if he called
at
them.
no point at no point in that situation did anybody say
I think
free Kyrie.
I think we're being disingenuous if we
No.
say that they're there for the book and not Kyrie,
I'm-
because it wouldn't be there but for Kyrie.
Okay, so here's what I'm saying. I know Israelites, right?
So do I.
They do not.
They were
They-
there to be
they-
seen on TV doing what they did.
They
That's
were
why they were there.
they were
Let's
there-
keep it funky.
They were there. They were there as a show. They were there
Yeah.
as a okay.
Let's keep
we-
it funky.
we
I
can
mean,
minim-
I didn't want to
Look,
go
look,
there,
no wait.
but you kind of forced me to
We
go
can
there.
we can trivialize it that way. But
That's what it was.
But what it was more than nah,
That's what
bro.
it
But what it
was.
was more than that
They gonna
was
scream from every corner with their megaphone because they want people to listen.
it
They
was
knew
a
that the
show.
cameras was gonna be there,
Okay.
so they was gonna be there.
Yeah, but they were you making them Kim Kardashian, and that's not what it was.
Uh,
They were there
said
as
that.
a
I didn't
they,
say that.
They, but that's the way you shaped it.
I mean,
They
but-
were there to be seen on TV, but as a show of force.
Yeah.
They wanted
Yeah.
they wanted people to see that on a moment's notice we can organize 1,000 black men strong and walk on whatever we want to walk on and be there, and there's nothing you could do about it.
I mean,
It wasn't about look at me, ain't I
Yeah.
pretty?
Yeah,
So
I
don't
mean,
make them into that.
you know,
They not
and-
nobody
and-
there
and
is
in
trying to be a
October-
TV star.
And in October of 1995, Farrakhan had 1 million of us do it. And in October of 2005, he had 500,000 of us do it. So there are those who can bring black people together. I'm
Right.
not understanding why that's different when we're speaking specifically of them.
But I'm gonna tell you why it's different. It's different because
Al Sharpton, 250,000.
okay, I'm gonna tell you. But
People
again,
who show up, the right
it-
person calls them.
6 months and a year and a half in the planning was the Million Man March, and it was more like 3 million. I was there.
Okay.
And again, the idea. See, and here's the point. And like you go back to the thing, right? About how they say, read, brother. Whitey don't like that. Because they've been hiding shit from black folks in books forever, and it's been working.
I mean, if we go back to the Black Panther conversation, if we get 1 million people to show up, so what? You showed up. What you gonna do now?
Listen,
Joe
again-
Madison always says, "What you gonna do about
Look,
He
here-
said it's not. It's
they don't
either
listen
a
to me.
movement or
There
a
is-
moment.
moment?"
No,
Yeah.
the Israelites,
And that was a moment.
That was a moment.
The Israelites,
They was on TV.
the
Now we
Israelites
talking.
do not have a political agenda.
They got an
That's
agenda.
not true.
They don't have a
Absolutely not true.
political agenda.
Politics.
They don't
maybe.
have a political agenda.
Politics. Democrat,
What they have is a
Republican,
cultural.
No.
Maybe not. Right.
But-
They don't. They have a cultural agenda.
which is political.
No, it's
Certainly,
not
when
political.
you got people like you and me in here debating
no,
them,
they're anti-political.
that's political.
They're anti-political.
And I'm the guy
They
that
don't have.
sat.
They don't have a.
and-
They don't
and
have.
I'm the guy that debated
Here's
with
what-
them for
here-
7 hours.
Listen,
I know.
listen. Here's what
on
they,
the air.
here's what they want. This is their agenda. They want black people to understand who they are or who they believe them to be,
Yes.
right?
Agreed.
And they want white people to recognize that they are at least partially right,
I got you.
right?
And I agree.
So-
I agree
so-
with that, and I agree with that part of their agenda. So far we're aligned.
So my whole point is, as we always like death by 1,000 cuts. This guy who said at least 6 times 100 of your supporters tied Kyrie and the Israelites together and made a nice little bow on top, and then took it from about 1,100 to 100. So, Kyrie had 100 people outside for him. And,
I got you.
right? And tied him to the Israelites who have been dubbed, crowned, and without any counterclaim named anti-Semitic.
All right. So let me, in the interest of time, I'm going to ask you to wrap it up. So I'm going to ask you a very specific question. I want you to address that. Then we're going to move on. What's the problem what's the problem? Because we know that Kyrie started this by tweeting the support of that movie.
He didn't support it.
He tweeted the movie. So that's support.
He just retweeted.
Still support.
No, support would be offering
I'm not gonna
an
do the
opinion.
semantics thing with you, bro.
But again,
I'm
this
not
is
gonna do that.
again, this is, you know what? And that's how we lose every time. We let them play semantics and we refuse to. We let them create narratives and we refuse to. We let them be petty as they want to be and break down things and spin in any way that works for them. And we sit here on a mantle as if we're supposed to be better than. It doesn't work like that. We're at war. They are trying to destroy us every single day, and all we want to do is worry about. Oh well, I'm not going to be cement. I'm not going to play cement.
Well, between
it's all
the two
about
of you, it's not
but it's all. But it's
necessary to
all.
play
But it's
semantics.
all.
Let's have
It
some
is because it's
reality.
all about semantics. All of this is about semantics. He never came out in support of anything. He took a photo of the book and retweeted it. Nobody ever asked him.
Doesn't matter. He retweeted it.
Listen,
that makes it support.
No, that means he may not have liked it. We don't know what he thought of it.
We know he.
But listen, we made an assumption, right? You gotta give a person an opportunity to do something before you accuse them of doing it.
I think you're giving Kyrie way too much credit.
I'm not. Listen, I don't even like Kyrie.
You're getting way too much credit.
I know. Y'all missed my point.
Yeah,
you want me to wrap it? Let me wrap it.
I understand.
I don't like Kyrie. You can move him off the planet, and I would not care.
Gotcha.
Right? What I'm saying,
it's too flat.
But what I'm saying,
again,
like
I'll see you soon.
All of this,
He'll be back.
But see, but here's the problem. We laugh about it. We play with it. The joke. They elected Kyrie to remind us to stay in our place. All of this is about, hey, boy, know your place. And if you get out of line, I'm going to remind you the hard way. And the majority of people in media, black people, and even a quiet majority outside took that lesson, took their lash and said, Toby.
I respect where you're coming from because I agree with what you're saying in spirit with regards to how Kyrie was treated by the team and by the league. But I come back to, and I want to shift the staff here. I come back to the fact that you tweet something like that, I think it's a fair connotation to assume that you support it. We'll disagree on that. That's fair. That's fair. We can come back. I received that and I respect where you're coming from on it. I think ultimately the Israelites showing up was more about the Israelites showing up and less about Kyrie, but them being attached together. I think it's just it is what it is. Things, Steph, jump in here.
I think yes, it was a photo op. There have been, and to your point, maybe the fact that they are apolitical is why they don't show up when people are killed, maimed, injured, or what have you. I'm not going to root for them because they are like the community they want to be a part of and mimic so badly that doesn't want them. They are insular and focused on self. They don't care about, the average black life. They only care about it if you join them. And like many religions, and this is, I always say, the white people are black people. Like many religions, the minute they formed and their founder Cherry formed this idea or ideation of a religion, most religion is harmful to women. And this one, in its standing, and I've read plenty of books and talked to many women from that community, this one harms women. I mean, there's an immediate standard that women wanting to be individual or the liberation of women is a problem. So immediately, as someone who believes in women being liberated and having and experiencing equanimity in this society, I immediately can't rock with them. I just feel like, what was the point? I've seen them in their Power Ranger suits show up to other things before, and it literally is a blip on the radar. And if you were coming to create a statement that you were going to stand on, I have more respect. People were like, well, this is like if the Nation of Islam showed up. No, it's not. No, it's not, because Farrakhan's not going to take his boot off your neck. He's going to keep talking. He's going to keep going. He's going to keep showing up. He's going to keep going. Like, he's going to make himself clear and visible amongst the community. What I find with them is just it's momentary. I don't think there's no power there. There is no shifting of power. This is another movement that allows someone or some people in a certain clique or segment to, it's like looking at a black religious MLM to me. It's just building a pyramid of people. There's going to be some at the top that live well, that do well, that so on and so forth. And then everybody underneath is just following. Show me where it makes a difference. I think, good for Kyrie that he had somebody show up for him. I find it interesting that a lot of people, his brotherhood, didn't say a word to support him and could have spoken as eloquently as you did, John, about why standing beside him is important, not because of what he said, but because of how things were positioned and how they used that positioning. I also think that there's a time where you have to recognize that your power is sometimes in what you don't say and what you don't get involved in. And Kyrie is intellectually devoid often. He could have so much influence and so much sway, and then he just says things. It's like it was unnecessary. So for this, some they showed up. They showed up, and I'm like, truly, I am not for any organization with everything we have going on in this country. The deaths of Black people is not political to me. It is not solely political. It has so many layers and it has depth. The abuse of Black women, so many layers, it has depth. There's all these areas where they could put on the purple Power Ranger suits and show up and they don't. And so now, there's eyes on it and you showed up. I don't know if that's going to drive any fundraising their way. I don't think they have that Alex Jones level of push through. But them showing up tomorrow, as a matter of fact, them showing up today already is insignificant. It has made no real movement.
I have Steppin Marcus J live from New Den Legacy and that radio. We're getting some love from our brother. I always love to say his name like this. Antonio Timman Collins is checking us out. What's up, brother? I just like saying that. And I always enjoy when Timman checks in. And, I believe in giving flowers. I give him these same flowers every opportunity I can. And, we have new listeners, so I'll share this. He's a comic here based out of Richmond, but you can find him all over our country doing what it is he does. So just go ahead and Google Timman Collins. You'll find him pop up. We share a barbershop, and on more than one occasion, I've run into him in the barbershop, and he caught me on a day. Because normally, I do this for our show. And certain places I like to go, but there are certain times where I am a little quiet. I am a Gemini, so you never know which me you're going to get. Normally, when I'm in the barbershop, I just come in and come out. And the last few times I've seen him, I'm just not really in the best mood and stuff be going on. And every single time, this man, he must be intuitive, at least to me he is, because he says something to me that just gives me such a pick-me-up and sends me where I need to be. So, Tim, man, I appreciate you, bro. I love you, man. Thank you for rocking with us here at Legacy and that radio. Thank you for being my brother, and just thank you for being a dope-ass dude. You're a father. You got girls, man. Everything about you is just dope, so I rocks with you. Ain't no ask that, Marks J. All right, John, question for you before we move on. You'll get the last word on this topic before we move on. Ernest Porter says, John has a point because Jewish leaders said he crossed the line and needs to be put in his place. So I want you to address that in however manner you see fit, and then you'll have the last word on this topic before we move on. What you got? You're good.
Yeah, I by no means believed that they were doing something powerful in their representation, right? Only by showing that they have the ability to assemble in large numbers and be disciplined, which in and of itself is an important thing. But it wasn't the first time that people in New York have seen it, and it won't be the last time. My issue is, again, the spin, the semantics, the play, right? People turn a blind eye to what media does, to how powerful. It's the most powerful medium in existence. It controls the minds of the masses. People are insanely brainwashed and lied to and very willing to accept whatever they hear that comes to them on a screen. Right? And again, right now, in the minds of people, I don't know it to be true or untrue, but Kyrie Irving is an Israelite. And I don't think it's true because he's going to play on a Friday night. Also, the Israelites support him, and as my wonderful Bobe said, they don't support anybody that ain't down with them.
Yeah.
So he playing ball on a Friday night. The Israelites are not supporting Kyrie. They
Neither
wasn't
did the
there
Nation
for
of Islam.
Kyrie, right? So again, but the media,
Who doesn't understand?
we look, whoever they are, as my man Chappelle said, whoever they are, the media has spent it, control the narrative, and set the word and the verbiage, because nobody is still broken down in the book or the documentary where the anti-Semitism is. They've taken things and broke it down and drawn it out and said da. Well, you see right here, this part right here made me feel offended. But they cannot concretely say that there was an offensive word, an offensive attitude, or something that was, what's the word? Observably.
They saying it. You just don't agree with it.
No, they're not.
They are.
They're not.
They are.
Bro, they are not put. I'm telling
They
you
are.
what they've done, because I've watched it.
Yeah.
And I've watched their response. What they've done is said, because they said this, and this, I felt offended. They have not discredited, refuted, or offered evidence factual against anything that was presented in the book or documentary.
All right. So let me ask you this then. I was gonna leave it right there, but I can't leave it right there. As Black people, we know there are things that are said to us that's offensive to us, and nobody else gets to say it. And if they do, we hate them forever. And then we come to a situation like this, and we get all indignant about these people being offended by people saying stuff about that. Like, unless you live it, unless it's you don't get to tell me what offends me. So, I'm not an anti-Semite. I love my Black people, all of the things. But I'm also someone who is trying to live a life of same energy. And so if I'm living a life of same energy and I have a conversation with my brothers and my sisters, and every other word out there, motherfucking mouth is and this and that and this and my and this and my and that. And I tell them, why don't you put brother in there, man? Fuck that. How about I'm gonna just say my and we'll fight with you over the right to call their brother a derogatory name. But let somebody white say it. Let somebody not Black say it. Now all of a sudden they're the worst person in the history of life, and we all seen the videos where Black folk done knocked out people for saying the N-word. Having said all of that, we supposed to be the ones sitting around determining what Jewish people find offensive? Like, come on. Think about how that sounds.
That is not even remotely
That's
my point.
exactly this. This may not be your point, but that is the point. But that is the point of this conversation.
But I'm gonna break it down for you.
That is the point of this conversation, especially us, especially our people. We want to get in the middle of what makes them people offended.
Okay, you ready? I'm gonna break it down for
I'll
you.
shut up
Here goes the problem.
for a minute, though.
No, it's all right. Here goes
Only a minute.
Here goes the problem. No, we can't do that. I don't. If you're offended, I feel bad that you're offended. If I've done something to offend you, I will apologize for the offense, and I will do my best to try to make amends in the same manner in which I offended you. So if I made a general statement and the organization of my words offended you, I will do my best to find other words to make my point. But here goes the problem. You can't bring emotion to a math test. I don't care how 2 + 2 = 4 makes you feel. That's your business. And that's what is consistently done. And it's not exclusive to those people. Because black people do it, white people do it, everybody does it. But what I'm saying is, when you control the means of distribution, when your voice, when you have the only mic, it's like the comedian and the hecklers. I got the mic. You're never gonna win. Right? You're never gonna
Very
win.
clear. Or don't try to clown a comedian.
Right.
I'm gonna tell you
They've
straight
been
up.
doing this forever.
But let me finish
Go
this
ahead,
up.
finish your point, bro.
The whole point of this thing is, come to me if what said hurts your feelings, say that. Say it hurt your feelings. And we'll deal with your hurt feelings in some kind of kumbaya moment. But don't tell me because your feelings got hurt that you want to destroy a person, you want to take their livelihood, and you want to ruin a person, and you want to turn them into the devil because your feelings got hurt. Not directly, but because you can break it down into something to say after I broke it down it was hurtful, but never challenge its fact. A fact isn't truth. A fact is a proof or disproof, right? So, or a disproof. Either one is a fact. So, the documentary and book made several factual statements. If they offend you, disprove the facts.
You got it. Ain't no how Steppin Marcus J live from New Den Legacy and Radio. Last thing I'll say on the topic, if you're a comic and you come from me, that is the night that my comedy career starts. Ain't no how Steppin Marcus J live from New Den Legacy. Don't come
Better
for
have
me.
you a mic or a megaphone.
Yeah, don't come for me. Like, don't come for me. I grew up short with glasses. The little dude that got picked on. I got my playing the dozens swords sharpened very early. Come for me if you want to. Ain't no how Steppin with Marcus J live from New Den Legacy and Radio. All right, so a quick, let's have some fun, and then a quick, we'll have a serious conversation, and then we're gonna move on in the time that we have left. Steph, you had sent this note to us in the group chat.
It was my it made me smile every time I was annoyed this week.
We gonna have some fun with this next one, man. So look, y'all.
I was hoping you bring this up.
Yeah,
I
man.
really was.
Yeah, man. All right, so the folks in social media, y'all can already see it, all right, because I didn't pull it up. You got Herschel Walker, the double XL. That's the name of the page that we get this from, right? And Herschel Walker, he done pulled out the Bone Thugs and Harmony song. He coming out and doing his thing, and he's literally shucking and jiving. Like, he's literally shucking and jiving. So I'm gonna quiet us down for a minute. It's just a few seconds. Look at this, and we're gonna clown him. We're gonna clown him, right? He came out the Bone Thugs Mommy, right? He came out to the crossroads. Hey, look, he came out to the crossroads. It's so crazy, Bone. I see it here, right? You see what Crazy Bone says? Social media. What the hell is he doing? I done pulled up the actual tweet, yo. He really wants to know, yo, what the hell is he doing?
And then he came back and said, "We need to talk to him."
We with the, y'all see it. All right. So I think I've had enough. We've had enough fun with this. All
I
right.
never
So
have enough shucking and jiving.
but
from
here's the
Herschel
thing, right?
Walker.
Here's the thing, right? And I put the caption on the screen. I'm gonna say this. I'll give y'all one spin. Say your piece. Say it quick, and then we're gonna move on to another topic. But I'm gonna start it, and I'm gonna just say it this way real quick. Anybody that knows me, that has known me for a long time, like longer than the last 2-3 years, more, because I think I started shifting right before I turned 45. So January of what year did I turn? The 19. So January of 19 is the beginning of my shift that really, really kicked in the high gear in January of 21. But this is when I'm starting to say, you know what, fuck all this. I'm not paying attention to none of this. I'm gonna live my life. If you've listened to the show before, my activism was different. My prose was different. But this is when you start hearing me say things like, y'all gonna do what y'all gonna do. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do. I'm not living for y'all. I'm not trying to be emotionally invested in the way I used to be. This is when I start speaking this way. Culminated in January 21 with the shutting down of the den, and January 6th, and certain things in my life that shifted. I am not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I am an independent who leans to the left. I am not someone that looks at politicians and politics as a way that I need to move, because I know that all of them are crazy and they all at work. Just think about yourself at work. When you go to work, you just think about when you go to work, you're just trying to get to 5 o'clock. And so you're going to do what it takes to get to 5 o'clock. If that means you need to fudge a number here, if you don't think you're going to get caught with it, or you might talk slick to somebody who you know you're not going to get in trouble for it, or you might have a sip during the time when you shouldn't have a sip, like whatever it is you do to get through your workday, ain't nobody in here judging you, right? But when we talking about politics, and we talking about affecting people's lives, it's a whole different thing. And when I realized that these people just going to work, and I absorbed it and I internalized it, I was like, man. And then when you look at this year alone, Atlanta and Georgia have to decide between Reverend Raphael Warnock, the current sitting senator, who pastors the Ebenezer Baptist Church, which is the same church
Master
that
and
Reverend
doctorate.
Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and his father before him pastored. This is who we talking about. Now, he's going through a nasty divorce. Him and his wife not getting along. There's some smoke between them. I can dig it. If you ever been married, then you know some days you can't stand his ass. And she's a bitch. Like all of those things can be true at the same time.
Tell your friends, don't tell me.
You know what I'm saying? And I think more than any of us, Herschel Walker knows this stuff too, considering his past. So making my point, and I'll make it, and I'll just get out of it, and y'all can have it. Steph, you up first. Georgia is deciding between the dude who is a reverend, who leads the church that Martin Luther King Sr. and Jr. led, versus the dude that came out and shucked and jived to the crossroads, like we just saw, who came to a debate and told not to bring props. He came out with a fake badge and told y'all that he was giving that honorarily. Like, come on, man.
We're the greatest country in the United States.
This is the greatest country in the United States. Like all of the things. So me, Marcus J. It is stuff like this that told Marcus J, just let it go, man. Just let it go. I'm not emotionally investing myself in this stuff no more. I'm not going to be going to the polls getting upset when my person doesn't win no more. I'm not doing none of that no more, because y'all about to make Herschel Walker a senator. And if you don't make him a senator, you got us in a runoff. So it's more possible than not. You had your chance a few weeks ago to make it not. And y'all voted for Herschel Walker. Y'all voted for Herschel Walker. Y'all voted for Donald Trump. Y'all voted for Donald Trump, yo. You voted for Donald Trump and Herschel Walker. So me, Marcus J, for my peace and my sanity, I'm not emotionally attaching myself to this shit no more. Because you motherfuckers ain't right. None of you. Any of you. Talking about Herschel Walker's I vote for Herschel Walker. You see him. They out there. I'm not making this up. I am not making this up. Herschel Walker is a guy I think is a great person to lead Georgia in the United States. Really? 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 Herschel Walker? Really? 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 Don't take this emotion that you're seeing as me caring. This is the emotion of me laughing at y'all. Like, for real? Because I'm not doing this with y'all no more. Y'all about to vote for Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker, yo. He just shucked and jived to the crossroads. And the dude who wrote the song said, no. Really? Herschel Walker, man. Come on, man. And here's the irony. Here's the irony of all of this, right? You see all of this? You see all this you getting me from right now? Okay. But you know what I did in 2015 and 16? The same shit when it was Donald Trump. Same energy. Because that's the theme of the show tonight. This is the theme of the night. Same energy, right? This is the same thing. Like the same people that's about to vote for Herschel Walker, a lot of them voted for Donald Trump, right? And we supposed to look at them like legitimate, viable options to lead our country. Like they gave Donald Trump his Twitter back, and he used Twitter to send the people to the Capitol to storm the shit. Like, this is the America that we live in. So you want me to be emotionally attached to it? No, I'm going to smoke my weed. I'm going to go to yoga, and I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to love on the people who love on me, and I'm going to have a rant in the middle of the show that had nothing to do with the show, but it has everything to do with the show, and I'm going to ask Steps to jump in here because I said what I'm going to say. And I'm not going to speak again until we go on to the next topic.
First of all, I think it's hilarious.
Herschel Walker.
I think it's hilarious how amped you are about this topic because, you know, first of all, it's true. It seems ridiculous that we're making a decision between Reverend Raphael Warnock with a master's in divinity and a PhD in religious studies versus Herschel Mushmouth CTE Walker. We literally have a black man who said that China is sending their bad air to us because our good air was. Yes, I am almost embarrassed that I remember the buffoonery in his statements. You know, this is the thing about Herschel. Listen. Smokable trees are the only way out. It's the only way out. Listen, I'll say that about Herschel. The shucking and jiving he did on stage is the shucking and jiving he does behind the scenes, but that's worse because we're not present to see it. And the fact of the matter is that in order to be selected by today's GOP, GQP, MAGA people and be black, so one, to be black and be accepted, you will have to be Diamond and Silk. You will have to be Candace Owens. You will have to be a mentally unstable Kanye West. They're not picking Kanye West, and when he get on, he'll be asked for a white girl Kanye West. They're picking the Kanye West that we're seeing now, the one that all of us almost feel bad for. This is what he has to do. The difference is, unlike Tim Scott, his shucking and jiving, they found the perfect S&J candidate. They found the one who's not smart enough to tell them anything other than what they want him to say. He can't combat them. He doesn't have the intellectual prowess to even debate the lowest of a no-tooth MAGA person. He just doesn't have it. This is perfection for them. This is the one on the plantation that they could get, they could train, they could get out and push their message. And they're literally like, go and push it amongst your people. And the unfortunate thing is that, or the sad thing is that we still believe that these people are religious or Christian or evangelical or whatever. This is not about religion. This is about winning. This is about positioning. And this is about the ability to subdue the black mind and the black market. Once they get him in, that shucking and jiving is going to escalate. Yeah, it is going to be worse. And I say once they get him in because they are so galvanized. They are so motivated. Lindsey Graham was crying on television. Crying. Get out and vote for Herschel. Gotta do it. You know, when have you seen a white politician cape this hard for a black man? The reason that they're caping this hard is because he's not he's not Barack Obama intellect level. He's not Raphael Warnock intellect level. He doesn't have it. He just absolutely doesn't have it. I love the comments right now. He got Michelle came in, Michelle Wilson. She said, I'm dead, LMAO. Not shucking job. Yes, he shucked and jive, big auntie. He was shucking and jiving. She says, Steph, mushmouth. I can't. And it's true. This man cannot formulate a sentence. Let's be real. Okay. So being a reverend, being a pastor is a job. And at churches that are as established as Ebenezer, it is an elected position. You go through interviews with the board that includes the deacon and everybody else, you know, the relevant factors in the church. And they review you and they review all the other candidates. They literally treat it. It is a paid position to lead a historical institution and congregation when it's at this level. Even small churches will interview the pastors coming in, right? These people select. He didn't just walk into a country church on a country road and decide I'm gonna be the pastor here. He didn't just build a little brick and mortar or buy a bodega storefront in New York and decide he was going to open a church in the middle of the block. He is the pastor for a historical institution. And this is even a question in the Bible Belt. If you don't know anything else about this run between Warnock and Walker, you must know that all they did was find a black man to go up against a black man. They didn't care. They let you know. They actually on Twitter last week, there was a tweet and it was from a supposed, from a white guy who has a lot of comments that just he should keep to himself. But he said something very real that I believe most of the Caucasian people or the people of no color who are voting for Walker think. He said, the reason Herschel Walker did well is because he speaks like the average Southern Black. He said this. He sounds like the average Southern Black person. Now, we're 3 Northern Black people. We're probably 2 generations removed. I'm only one. My dad was born in the South. My family migrated to the North. So I'm a first generation New Yorker. You know, Coney Island, born and bred. So he is saying that my people, my grandmother, my father was born in South Carolina. He's saying that this is how they sound. So they understand, they're compelled by this level of ignorance. And this is what you have to understand about people of no color who are voting and pushing and promoting, voting for, pushing and promoting Walker. They just believe that they got an equivalent to all of us. Never mind your education. Herschel didn't even finish college. Not that you need college to be intelligent. I sit and talk to plenty of people who are beyond my intellect, who are lesser educated, traditionally. But they literally believe this is how we sound. This is who you are. This is Black Southerners. If that isn't enough to make us folks show up like fictional Wakanda is happening in real time, I don't know what to tell you folks down in Georgia.
Ain't no hashtag Marcus J live from New Den Legacy Internet Radio. Michelle, she's still with us, Steph. She said, "Hey, look,
I love
yo,
being her
I'm
entertainment because
I'm
she.
totally about to holler when she says this because I got to do it
If
the
you
way
do
she.
it,
I
I'm
got to
gonna
do
hear
it.
in
I
her
got to
voice
do
and
it. I got to
act
do
up.
it." She said, "Got me singing." Hamble, have you heard?
Not Hambo.
Bob's gonna copy a mockingbird. If that mockingbird don't sing,
He did Hambone it.
yeah. Pop's gonna buy me a diamond ring.
She nailed it because he Hamboned it.
Come on, man.
It's
Hey, look.
a meme now.
But you know,
it literally is a meme.
but
now.
when we
This is
talk about
embarrassing.
or a
Hambone,
GIF,
as the young folks
John, when we talk about Hambone, we telling our age, right?
say. Hambone.
Shout out to Willie Tester, Willie Tyler and Lester.
Willie Tyler.
And Lester.
Thank you, Michelle, for bringing
Thank
that
you.
up.
Hambone, have you? Yeah, I'm loving
That's
it.
where he is. Herschel is Hambone.
He is
it.
Hambone. John, jump in here, bro.
Everybody, I would love to laugh with y'all.
Okay.
But
All
I
right,
just
Here we
can't.
go.
I can't.
Here we go.
Let me explain to you why I can't laugh.
All right, John, go ahead.
The
Be
possibility
the grown up.
When he starts talking, I'm gonna stop laughing. But when he finish, I'm gonna laugh
cracking up.
again.
I'm gonna Hambone it. I'm gonna Hambone it up. But go ahead, bro. Hambone is waiting. Sorry, John. You saw the video, John.
Yeah, man.
It's hilarious.
It did make me laugh a bit, and I'm gonna tell you why.
Why John
The
gotta be
fact-
the elder in the
the
room
fact-
right now?
The fact that
Damn it.
that man could be a sitting United States senator makes me sick to my stomach. Right? It makes me sick to my stomach. Okay, so let's really understand what's going on. Herschel Walker, the laughing stock that he is again a distraction. Pay no attention. Look at the shiny object. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. We lost the House. So there's a movement to make Donald Trump speaker. You don't have to be a congressman to be anybody. They could make you speaker of the House.
I did not know that.
That would make him
you don't
third.
have to
That would
be-
make him third in line
Yeah.
for the presidency.
That ain't what he want though.
No, but
That part. He doesn't even want the senatorial part. But go ahead,
right.
John.
You see what I'm saying? So,
Could you
so
imagine him trying to do that job?
listen. They can do it. They got the votes,
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
but they
I'm
have
with
the
you.
votes.
I'm with you. I'm not gonna argue with you. Go ahead.
There's
bro.
enough MAGA. There's enough MAGA congressmen right now, and there's not enough never Trumper congressmen right now who can vote and make Trump Speaker of the House. Herschel Walker could be a sitting senator on the United States Senate, and the media is exploiting it to the people and making a joke of it to distract you from the fact that this democracy, however flawed it is, and however many lives were lost to create it, is crumbling before our eyes. It's crumbling before our eyes. And please do not get it twisted, people. Y'all think it ain't possible. I didn't think it was possible for Donald Trump to be elected. Right? It's possible for black people to be back on the plantation. Y'all messing around with these people and y'all think it's a joke. It ain't funny. Stacey Abrams only got 80% of the damn black woman vote in her state. Y'all refuse to wake up and see what's going on. Y'all want to talk about Kanye and his dumbass and Kyrie and his dumbass and Herschel Walker, his buffoon coon ass, right? And not see what's happening in front of you. Donald Trump announced that he's running in 2024 because as a running candidate, they have to stop the investigation. Right? All of this stuff is happening in front of your eyes. And you acting like it's not an issue, and you won't even go out and vote for Stacey Abrams because you don't like how she looked. That's what it comes down to. Black women.
Wait, what?
They don't like how she look.
Who doesn't like how she looks?
They took a survey. They said black women don't like how she looks.
Sir, black women overwhelmingly voted for Stacey Abrams. I don't give a shit.
No, the ones who didn't. She
Yes,
got 80%. She should have got at least
but-
95%.
But before you go there, let's go to the entire demographics that didn't vote for her. Because what I won't allow is the fact that black women continuously, and I don't care what state it is, carry the electorate.
Oh, 100%.
I will not allow those silly little statistics to come up, because at the end of the day,
let
we
me
still
walk that
vote
back.
overwhelmingly.
Let me walk that back. Please do not allow my disappointment in the energy of this situation to be a derogatory format on black women and their participation in the electorate. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there's too much distraction. There's too much bullshit. There's too much of this constant bombardment of media and dumb shit. And whoever they are who are controlling it are doing it on purpose. And it's like you can't, it's like you can't see the forest for the trees. You don't see, I mean, it's like people refuse to see what's going on. You know, it's like I don't understand it. And it's just not, it's too sad to be funny. It's too fucked up to be funny. And guess what? The other dude couldn't get my vote anyway. I don't think a reverend has any place in government. Separation of church and state. He's too, but I'm saying, granted, I understand what you're saying.
So you wouldn't want him to be the senator because of his full-time job outside of the Senate?
I wouldn't want anybody who believes that a white man in the clouds talks to them and influences their decision-making to have anything to do with my government.
So I guess you need to kick out every single person or a lot of the people that's in all this stuff.
Yes.
Which I knew you would say yes, but that's just not realistic. So
but it's supposed to be realistic,
but it's not.
Because that's not, listen, that is not
perception is reality.
Perception is reality, but guess what? 2 and 2 are still 4.
Yeah.
And they still got people sitting around talking about how they feel about it.
You singled out the pastor.
Nobody.
But everybody's a Christian.
But listen, no, they're not.
Or
they
Hakeem Jeffries is a Muslim.
The 1%, the people that run shit don't believe that bullshit and ain't got nothing to do with it. They use it as a system to control small, weak-minded individuals.
Well, that I can't argue with you about because I agree with you on that point.
Right?
But I'm
so listen.
But
at some point we gotta
we
gotta stop going along to get along. That shit ain't working.
I would say I agree with you on that part. Hard stop, as you like to say. The only thing that I would say is we're gonna start taking a hard line now because it's Warnock.
No, that's not. No, listen,
that's how that came off.
But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying to you is, right. You're giving me in. Look. You're giving me, in my opinion, an unreasonable choice, right? You're giving me an unreasonable choice in my opinion.
Between those two brothers.
Yeah,
right.
It's unreasonable. I shouldn't have to pick
the brother and the other.
I shouldn't have to pick between those two. I should be able to choose somebody who's gonna be a sitting state senator that has not a degree in divinity, but how about in political science?
I would.
How about a law degree?
John, can I say something? I don't disagree with you there. I have said on this show and in private conversations, politics is a job. Politics is a job, and it is a profession. And unlike being a ditch digger, like, okay, if someone is an awesome welder, you don't want to replace them with me. I don't have any education. I'm not formally trained. I didn't go to trade school. I didn't learn anything. Why am I able to just walk in and you're going to teach me on the job? Politics is a trained and learned position, education, and then it is followed by certain behaviors. And what has happened is the anything goes and anybody is electable has been demonstrated the moment Trump got in.
Well, before that,
and before that, I mean, we elected Reagan. They elected Reagan. Reagan was a celebrity. So that has been has been the case. What I will say about Warnock,
I don't got beef with him on a personal level.
No, I get that.
Listen, he may be, I don't know him personally. He may be a wonderful, I'm sure he's awesomely intelligent and all of that. And he already had the job, so I don't know how he did on it, right? What I'm saying is I'm uncomfortable with somebody when you pass them a proposed law or something and they go, I got to pray on it. I'm uncomfortable with you.
I don't disagree.
Right? That's all I'm saying.
What
I'm saying is you're giving me that. And then my other choice is coon buffoon. Right? So it's like what choice? I really don't have a choice.
You don't have no choice. Let me just say this because I need to move the show along. We got one more topic that I want us to get to. In the interest of time, I'm going to wrap this up and we'll move us into that and then we'll get towards a close. But, what you're struggling with is the struggle that we're always going to have when we're dealing with a two-party system. It's just is what it is when we're dealing with that. We talking about purple people. We're talking about two arms of the same bird and one side is red and the other one is blue, but the bird is purple.
The body's purple.
It's purple. It's purple people. So when we're talking about Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, like really? That's why I voted for Jill Stein, because I that was my protest vote, So it just is what it is when it comes to that. And I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, stuff. But
I get what you mean.
What we're saying, but what I'm saying is, if someone like me that is committed to the process of the vote, I'm gonna vote. I'm frustrated with the system. I'm frustrated with the choices. I'm frustrated with the system, with the party system. But I'm also someone that is going to participate in the system. I pay my taxes here. Even if it's some nefarious shit going on, I'm going to still make myself a part of it. Having said that, I understand where you're coming from, John. But when we look at the people that we have in positions, I promise you, there's more than just one guy saying, I'm gonna pray on it before I actually make a decision. He just happens to be the one that said it out loud. Why? Because he's the reverend. So I understand where you're coming from. I respect where you're coming from. I don't want to debate this piece with you. I understand what it is. When we talk about lessers or two evils, it's like when the evil, it's just evil. I don't want to do the lesser of two evils. I just want to not have to deal with evil. I don't think that we're dealing with that when we're dealing with Warnock and Walker, but if other folks feel that way, I can dig it. When we're looking at someone that is highly educated, fuck the blue, fuck the red. Like we find somebody that's highly educated versus someone who thinks that, what was the last thing he said? What's part of America? What was
he said? It is the United States is the best country in the United States.
Yeah, when somebody that says stuff like that,
America's the best country in the United States.
When people say stuff like that, it's like, come on, man. Like, I'm not gonna do the spaz thing that I did a little while ago, but it's just like, come on, this is what we're dealing with. So yeah, like I said earlier, I'm going to indulge my own self in self-care and how it looks. I already said it earlier, ain't gotta say it again. I'm going to love on the people who love on me. I'm going to show same energy. I'm going to take care of my family. I'm going to call my mama every couple of days. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to call my pops. I'm going to love on y'all. I'm going to go to Kroger spot. I'm going to do the things that fulfill me. Because when I look at the civics of the country that we live in, man, this is kayfabe. And if you're a wrestling fan, you know what I said. This kayfabe. All this shit's fake. All of it. It's all fake. When you are telling us that we need to make a choice between freaking Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker. Really? Come on, I'm not doing that. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J.
Can I say one thing just because I don't like to leave anything out there that could be misleading?
Sure, go for it.
Donald Trump running for president does not stop any civil or federal or criminal proceedings. It does not stop them. It does not interrupt them. Him getting re-elected as the nominee doesn't stop them, but it does change how they can proceed. And that's important to say because there's a big difference between it just stops. It does not. Him announcing, he's hoping that he will get the primary election. So then he can say, well, and it really, his entire purpose or point is exactly what he does now. Delay. But the government itself, Donald Trump right now is any guy. Although he's not getting any guy treatment, he is any guy. He can be be pursued criminally and civilly, no different than the rest of us. The difference is they just ain't doing it.
You know, I have Steppin, Marcus J live from New Den Legacy in that area. All right, so it is the top of our second hour, and this is normally where we transition towards the final stage of the show, which we are going to do. There's one more that we have to get to. We will spend a maximum of 7-8-ish minutes on it, and then we will shift with the goal of being completed right around half past, give or take a few minutes of the hour. But we said we were going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about this. All right, so this is another one. I'm going to play a clip. I'm not going to tell you what clip I'm going to play. I'm going to play the clip. Once you see it, you're gonna know. And once you know, then we will talk about it. Check this out. We all do. So we seen enough. For those who don't know, that is the video of the assault of our young sister, Shanquella Robinson. Shanquella Robinson is from Charlotte, North Carolina. She's 25 years old. She went on vacation to Cabo in Mexico with her friends in October, and she died there. Her family says that her friends claim that she had some sort of alcohol poisoning, but when you look at that video, it's pretty clear that there's an assault that goes on there. The death certificate says that she had severe spinal cord injury and neck trauma. There's a lot going on with this one. I will take the final word on this as I lead us towards our final stage of the show. So a big part of why I will take the final word on this is I really want to know where Steph and John are going before I say what I want to say. Now, in the interest of time, this is one that we probably should have left a little bit more time for, but it is what it is. This is what we got. So it's about 3 after our second hour. We don't have the time that we probably should have spent on this. So we're going to say our thing on it, and then we're going to move on. Steph, I want you to speak right before me. So I'll ask that John goes first. And John, you got the con. What you got on what you've seen and what you already know?
I never watched it. I didn't watch it right now. People who sort of split screen, I turn my eyes from it. It's something I don't want to see. What I want to say that's most important to me, this isn't a black thing. All right? These happen to be some black people that this happened to, but it didn't happen to her because she was black. And those people didn't beat her up because they are black. These are just people who did something horrible to another person, another human being. Right? And I really want us to stop emphasizing anything negative that black people do as black people doing it. It's just negative. It's just bad people doing bad things, right? I don't know how many bad things that white people do because it doesn't get the same kind of numbers on television, right? But I've watched enough episodes of Cops to know that they do foul, bad things also, right? So this woman's ethnicity or cultural background to me is irrelevant. This is a beautiful woman, young woman, from what I understand, from what her family says about her. Beautiful young woman, bright woman who had a future, and she doesn't have one now. And the people who contributed to it in any way or fashion, even as little as not reporting it or misinforming someone or omitting things when it came to the circumstances of her death, I believe should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law in this country and in Mexico. Do your jail time in Mexico and find out.
Yeah.
Right? That's how I feel about it. And as long as we don't make it a black thing, I'm good with it. The minute we start talking about black stuff and Ben Crump coming to it, y'all miss me.
You know, I can dig that. I understand. I respect where you're coming from. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J stuff.
Blackness matters. It matters. You know, I don't care what they do. I don't. They can beat each other to death. Doesn't matter to me. It doesn't. What I know about us from the history of us is we are better than this. They are not. Historically, people with no color have been this. We should not be emulating it. So it matters to me. It matters to me because there are often places that we cannot go and find peace. It matters to me that we are resorting, and you see it in posts. Yeah, I would throw hands. I would throw hands. I would throw hands. We cannot ignore the language of our people when it all of a sudden demonstrates itself. I don't care what Rebecca and Sally do. I don't care. I care that this sister went away. That this sister went away and cared enough to pay for the Airbnb. And there's another video where she's excited, telling them to get in their swimsuits and let's go. I care that she went away with her people. You know, a lot of people are talking about you got to know who you going away with and so on. Let's be clear. Don't blame the victim. Don't blame the victim. Now, I'm very clear with my own daughter. I will tell her, if somebody side eyes you once, you need to keep an eye on them. You need to know that's not your friend. This occurred to someone within our community. It matters. It matters. Blackness doesn't matter. And this isn't specifically to you. This is something that, I thought of even when I first saw it. Blackness isn't relevant because of what white people are saying. To be very honest, a lot of white people aren't even talking about this. You know why? Black lives don't matter. Period. They don't care. This is just beastly behavior to them. More of us. They can ignore their moxie cheese and the things that they do, right? I don't care about what they think. But internally, we are better. Internally, we are better. We are a people who are driven or birthed from people who are empathetic by nature. We talk about our ancestors and our elders and our people. And, oh, yeah, Black people, they'll feed you when they're there. Well, where is that level of empathy to one another? It does matter. It does matter because we are modeling the behavior of the oppressor. We're following it. And it matters because we're not turning it on them. We're turning it on each other. I don't care about their statistics. I know their statistics exist. I expect it. I expect that they will kill each other at high rates. They killed us. Their empathy is not natural. They had to rely on a lack of empathy to get where they needed to get from the time they landed here through Jim Crow and redlining and everything else. I expect them to lack empathy. When they don't, I don't give them cookies, but I acknowledge that they may be a tiny bit, a fraction of a bit better. But in this case, this is an us issue. This is a how we communicate issue. This is a I have rage deep down and didn't know what to do with it issue. There's no reason why did I when I watched the video the first time and I was done, I it just overwhelmed me. When I saw the video, what I immediately thought to myself is, why did you there's no, first of all, people for the most part, healthy people who truly like each other don't end in that situation when they go on vacation with one another. We've all gone on vacation with friends and family and had a little disagreement and been like, I'm going to stay in my room. I ain't even messing with them today.
Didn't die.
Or didn't go and fight them. I'm going to go to the pool by myself. I'm going to hang out on the beach by myself. Maybe some yachty will come by. But I don't want to hang with them today. There was more to this. There was already a level of hate or jealousy. And this is what happens when we can't just be happy for one another, when we can't experience joy together. There's no way that these feelings didn't reside in these individuals. By the way, 2 people put their hands on her. There's a video that we haven't seen yet that shows another woman slamming her to the ground, and that's when she never moved again. The fact that this young woman, the last thing her parents hear her say is no to the won't you fight back. The fact that there were men present in the room, that's a conversation. That's a conversation. This isn't us thing. This isn't a we're more violent than anybody else thing. No, we're not. Not inherently or otherwise. No, we're not. The history of this country has demonstrated we have to live here 400 more years doing exactly what they did to be contributed as just as violent. But it is not wrong to ask ourselves why this is occurring within our community. Because that girl, Dejanay, that's the girl who did it, who hit her first. If she did it in Mexico, there's somebody here that she posted on Facebook about that she's going to put her hands on. And there's hundreds of her friends is like, I know that's right. We got to acknowledge where we fall off. It's problematic that we want to not discuss where we are our own problem because we don't want to acknowledge. We want to say, well, they're a problem too. Yes, they are. I don't care about them. I don't care. Let Rebecca drag Sally downstairs. Don't care. Not my business. People of no color do what they want to do. That doesn't have anything to do with me. I could want them to go to jail. That won't impact anything. What this is about is how we relate to one another. Because you wouldn't have done it if she was Rebecca. You would know that the repercussions would be significant. It's important. It's not important to say, oh, we're Black. Let's talk about it from a place of Blackness. It's important to say, why is this happening with us in our community? A community deserving of empathy, of love. We were born of people who are empathetic and loving and kind. Why have we adopted the practices of our ancestors? Even those of you still beating your children with a belt. Yep. You're adopting the practices of violence too. It is important to call it out and to ask why internally this is the resolution. Why did you need to be validated by throwing hands? It's no different than a Cardi B saying, yeah, I got cases open, so don't mess with me. This is what we are validating. This is what we are aspiring to be the baddest, meanest bitch out there. And someone has ended up dead. We do need to talk about how we relate to one another. Because I promise you, this is not the way we relate to the people outside of our community. We've gotten too comfortable. And we have begun to emulate the behaviors of our oppressors. And it's important to have that conversation. But the bigger thing is, you got to go to jail.
Gotta go to jail.
And you got to do it in Mexico, where, by the way,
that's where the crime
happened. The crime happened. But the law is that your family is responsible for feeding you in prison. 3 meals is not a guarantee. I mean, as much as I think that American prisons are horrible, watch one episode of Locked Up Abroad and you'll be happy to be in Riverside Regional.
I have watched. I know how to do it. Ain't no how to Steppin Marcus, baby. Live from New Den Legacy and that radio. You know, the only thing that I'll say, John and Steph, I wanted you to speak first, both of you, on this, because I wanted to see the pieces that you didn't touch so that I could touch them. And the biggest piece that I'll touch, because you guys spoke very well on the topic. You always speak well on all of our topics. I appreciate you guys both being my family and being my brother and my sister and being a part of the show, because what you bring is immeasurable to the history of the show and to the future of the show. So thank you. Let's just, random in the middle of a comment, give you your flowers moment. But the piece that I wanted to kind of share is I got a daughter that's right around this age, give or take a few years. And there's going to come a time where she's going to want to go on these types of trips. And I'm going to have to let her go because she's grown. She's grown now, and the fear that you feel just having a kid and sending your kid in a car around a corner or down the street or to the next town over or to whatever is something that's always there, doesn't grip you unless you are someone that it grips you, but you feel it. You wonder when your children are not with you, there's always a little something that's there that you have to kind of live with. You learn to live with. But when you get the phone call that you don't want to get, that none of us ever want to get, your life changes. I look at this from the parents' perspective because I'm guessing the parents probably about our age because of the age of young Shanquella. So I just marvel at how these people could be so cruel to her. And we know what that's like because many of us have seen that type of cruelty in our own lives, but it's on a video. Like somebody filmed it and it was on video, it was on the internet. We all saw it, and her parents saw it, and her friends saw it, and her siblings, and her grandma saw it. Everybody saw it, how they treated this girl. And it's just so hard because when you look at the fact that it's in another country, there's going to be inherent challenges that come with having to deal with that. And so it's just so tragic. It's so upsetting. And I just offer the deepest condolences on behalf of the three of us and anybody that I know, my family, everybody's family, to her and her family, because this just didn't have to happen. And it's just so hard to see. And, like I said, I look at this personally because I see her as my baby. Like when I look at these things and I look at some of the younger artists and musicians and social media people and even these kinds of kids, I'm like, I see, we're middle-aged people now. So there's always gonna be our kids. Like Cardi B is my daughter. So when I see her doing things she doing, I look at her as my daughter doing that stuff. That's why I be looking at Cardi B like, girl, stop that shit. Because I'm like I see her as my daughter's age, right? I don't see her as an artist. I see her like, damn, Cardi, So I see young Shanquella as my daughter, and it's just so hard to imagine what it must be like for her daddy to know. I saw mama this morning before I left. When I go home tonight, I'm gonna see her again. I'm blessed because I live with her. When I left the house this morning, coming out of the weekend, it was a good weekend, but I knew how hard this 3-day week would be because I'm off on Thursday and Friday because of the holiday from the main job. And I just stood with her and I just put my shoulder on her shoulder. She's a little taller than me, so my shoulder's a little lower than hers. And I put my shoulder on her shoulder and I put my head like right there, and she was on my right, so it's like this. And it was the most peace that I had felt all weekend. And I had done so much this weekend. It was a great weekend, but like that 5 seconds of just standing shoulder to shoulder with my head on my baby's shoulder this morning as I left for work, I just felt all of this peace come over me, and I was able to go to work and get through the day. And I'm here with y'all tonight, and all of those things. And I'm just wondering what Shanquella's daddy is feeling right now, and I'm feeling for him because he ain't gonna be able to do the shoulder to shoulder thing with his baby girl ever again. And that's the part to me that makes this so sad. I Step Marcus J live from New Den Legacy and Radio. All right, so this is the part where we're gonna shift. We're going to get to our moment in Black history. We're going to get to our missing children. We'll get to our rants, and we'll get to our closings. Moment in Black history. I usually do one or two, but I looked at this week. It's a lot of stuff I want to share with y'all. So I'm going to get through these real quick get through the missing kids real quick, and then we're gonna close us out with our rants and our closings. We're gonna start in 1983. In 1983, James Cody is beaten, electrocuted, threatened with castration by officers of the Chicago Police Department, which systematically tortured more than 100 black men over 3 decades. Now, this is a story that many people don't know. And when you mention it to them, they're going to roll their eyes, they're going to cock their heads to the side and look at you and like, man, that ain't happened. But the Chicago Police Department for many, many, many years was snatching brothers off the street and fucking with them. If you look hard enough, you'll find it. This happened. And this just happened to be the name of a person that we can attach to it. One of the hundreds, James Cody, 1983. Also this week in 1988, judge in Dallas, Texas gives reduced sentence to white student for targeting and killing 2 gay men, likening the victims to prostitutes and refusing to, quote, to give somebody life for killing a prostitute. So there's so much stuff wrong with this one. The judge don't want to give no love to a prostitute because they sell booty, and they don't want to give love to gay people because they like the same sex. But I'm not someone that gets into that. I said sell booty, and I said likes the same sex. You can find that to be whatever you find that to be. But you know how I find that to be? I find that to be a human being worthy of the same respect as heterosexual people who live their lives in a way that the masses would find or would call okay or on par. So you're a prostitute. So you're not worthy of not being killed. You gay. So you're not worthy of not being killed. We just had a mass shooting at a gay club over the weekend, and a drag queen not only was brutally murdered, but stomped with a heel of a shoe. Because you gay? Because you like to dress like the opposite sex? Like, really? I just find it so outrageous that when we see stuff like this, because we may not agree with the lifestyle, we endorse the negative and violent act against the person. It's never going to be okay with me. I don't have to understand, agree, or any of those things with how a person lives, but I will rock with you to the ends of the earth simply because you got red blood and you're a fucking human being and you deserve the same dignity in life that I do. Period. So it's not okay to kill somebody just because they decide that they want to love somebody different than how you would choose to love, or their skin color is different than what yours is. Not okay with me. And I needed to make that plain for anybody that's listening and watching me on this show right now. 1927, United States Supreme Court in Gonglum versus Rice allows Chinese citizens exclusion from state school from white children because she can attend a, quote, colored school with equal educational facilities. Y'all crazy white folks. But y'all bullshit, man. Y'all funny as hell. It's not funny, though. It's not funny, though. Tamir Rice in 2014. I ain't going to read it. I'm just say the name. Tamir Rice in 2014. That week. Tamir Rice. Last 2 things. We'll go to 1962, and then we'll go to 1963 this week. 1962. President John F. Kennedy orders an end to racial discrimination in federally financed housing. A year later this week, they shot him in the face. America, man. America. It's not funny. It's one of those laugh so you don't cry types of giggles, but America. Ain't no that Steppin Marcus J live from New Den Legacy and that radio. All right, missing children. We got 3, 2 in Henrico, 1 in Richmond. Let's get it. We're looking for Ariana Davis, November 14th, 2022, 17 years old, black female, 5'2", 105. Last seen on November 14th, she got a bunch of tattoos, nose piercing, ear piercings, nose piercings. So she likes the piercings. Doesn't matter. She's not with her family. Ariana Davis can be, if you see her, You can put your tip in at the Henrico County Police Department at 804-501-5000. Jaziel Pate, November 14th, 14-year-old black male, 5'8", 120. Medication is required. He might need medical attention. Also from Henrico, 804-501-5000. And then we're looking for Dion Burton out of Richmond, October 14th. He's 13, 5'6", 165. Last seen in a black hoodie, gray pants. His hair is styled and many dreads. If you've seen Dion Burton, contact the Richmond City Police Department, 804-646-5100. Let us recap. We're looking for Ariana Davis. We're looking for Jaziel Pate. We're looking for Dion Burton. If you've seen any of them, please contact the National Center for Missing and or Exploited Children and their website, missingkids.org, or contact them and their website, missingkids.org, at 1-800, or call them at 1-800-THE-LOST. That number is 1-800-843-5678. Feel like I was all over the place with that, so let me solidify and slow down. If you have seen them, check out their website at missingkids.org, or contact them by phone at 1-800-LOST, 1-800-843-5678. Ain't no hashtag Marcus J, live from New Den Legacy Net Radio. Rants, closings. It's about 27 or so after the third hour. So let's try to get our rants and our closings in. We'll be brief and get you on the Monday Night Football if that's your pleasure. This is the moment where John leads us off. My brother, this is your time. I appreciate you. Appreciate your wisdom. I tell you the same shit every week, but as your brother, I need you to hear it every week. You know, our disagreements is iron sharpening iron. I appreciate your wisdom. I appreciate your leadership. And I appreciate how steadfast you are and how you feel about things, because we can all learn from you, John. I know that I do. And so I appreciate how you move. This is where you say your piece, close out the show.
Cosign.
Let's get it. Let's get it, bro.
Thank you both. Love you both. We are at war. And it's not a game. And it's not to be taken lightly. We face this war with a multi-headed adversary. Right? The control of the war is to the 1%, the elite wealthy of the world. The battle that we fight is with other marginalized people. Because we live in communities that are based on likeness, right? If you take any groups of people or any type of living thing, the liked ones will gather together. It's a natural thing. So in our community, you hurt the people next to you. That's just what, you don't go out and venture out to try to hurt people, right? So this war is designed to keep us distracted so that 1% of the world can control 90% of its resources while the rest of us fight for the other 10%. I'm going to speak to Black people directly at this point. When I say we are at war, we are the we that I speak on. Our treatment since around 1700 to now has been so atrocious and just debaucherous that it has altered us genetically. right? This is science. This is not opinion. This is not a feeling, right? The black people alive today who are direct descendants of black people who were enslaved in chattel slavery. I got to emphasize that. Chattel slavery in this country and in the Caribbean have been genetically altered in a lot of ways. When Steph said about us mimicking the behavior of the oppressors, yes, but what we have done is become American. America is violent. America is evil, and America does whatever it does by force and deception. So we've taken on some of those genetics. We need to be aware of it. We are also, for the most part, and it's not exclusive to us in any way, mentally ill. And I don't mean that in go sit down with a therapist and talk about how you feeling. I mean that in the fact that there are chemicals produced by the human brain that monitor and influence behavior in such a way that a person in good mental health should not be able to beat a person who is not trying to beat them. If you do that, if you beat a person who is helpless, you have a mental issue that has to do with a chemical imbalance in your brain. It ain't because you feel bad. It ain't because of something did something to you. There's something wrong with you. You are defective. You are abnormal. You're abnormal in a way that allows you to do something that a healthy mental human being would not do. Right? And people who are in control of things, whoever they may be, know this. They know it's abnormal behavior. They know it's chemically produced. They know it's brain activity. They also know that they foster it through imagery, right? The church put us in chains. Black people, the church, where you go on Sunday is your enslaver and has been since there was such a thing as chattel slavery in the Caribbean and in the Americas. The church. Christianity was the blueprint for slavery. White folk, Europeans, were the architects. The general contractor, we won't mention that because we don't want to get in trouble. But they were the general contractors of it. And we have to understand what we're dealing with. The only thing that I have a problem with what we were talking about tonight is we had an early conversation and we were talking about expectations, right? I really don't. Marcus and I had a conversation before that talking about mass shootings and stuff too. And I said something kind of strange and we laughed about it. I'm tired of black people having to bear the expectation of doing more for less. We got to be twice as good to get half the distance in every single aspect of life. And we accept that. And it's not cool. It's cool that we can do it. It's cool that we can be better for less. That's not something nice to talk about, but we should not accept it. We should not be willing to accept it. We should vehemently protest it. Do not expect more from me than you would from my white counterpart. Have the very same expectation of both of us. Give us the same reward and the same punishment for the same achievement or the same loss. That's what this is about. And we got to remain focused and stop it with all the buffoonery and bullshit that we talk about and we make an issue. It's a non-issue. It's a non-issue. Why the hell are you talking about Kyrie Irving, who's a multimillionaire, and Kanye West, who's a multimillionaire, and your ass in the projects? Why? There's nothing that you can think or say that should have anything to do with that. All of your focus and energy needs to be about improving your situation, you dumbass. Right? You do not have the luxury of critique of multimillionaires when your car payment is more than your rent. Right? You forfeited from stupidity. Right? Like Marcus always says, like I foster, live the life, create the life that you want to live. Right? Shut your yap and lead by example. If people see you living well, you will encourage them to live well. But if all you want to do is smoke blunts, drink grape soda, and talk about who's the best rapper, then your dumb coon ass gets what you deserve. And that's my rant.
Steppin with Marcus J live for New Den Legacy and that radio. Literally, was it Welch's Grape? Because if it's Welch's Grape, I don't
It's
know.
Fanta.
Hey, look, if it's
It's
Welch's,
Fago.
is it cheese? Cheese steak and Welch's Grape.
No, but that was jelly on the toast.
You
But
gonna
the grapes,
compensate for a
listen, the
few?
grape soda,
Because we gonna do what we came to do.
No, listen, the grape soda
Ain't that
is
right?
But again,
Boo. True.
But here goes the problem with that, Marcus. The only problem with that is
Come
the
on,
only
man.
problem
You
with
gonna
that
be
is
serious, but
I gotta be.
clown?
The only
Come
problem
on,
with
man.
that is our babies know that.
Yeah, I know.
And they recite it.
I know.
And
I
they
know.
and they don't know. And they don't know
But here's
that
the thing.
they don't know that Donald Trump can be elected to Speaker of the House.
Here's the thing, right? Ain't no has Steph Marks here live from New Den Legacy and Radio. I'm gonna transition to Steph. I normally try to avoid even touching folks' rant. That was just a moment. I had a moment of weakness. But here's what I will say. When it's us, it's me, people like us who know better and that we know better and we trust it, know better. Yeah, we can loosen up and have some fun every once in a while. When we speaking in a manner to people who we're leading and coaching, yeah, we can keep the stiff upper lip and try to hold on to it. But when we are with folks who we know better, yeah, we can have some fun every once in a while. And that's the best part of this show more than anything else. That has been the case since December of 2011 when it started, all the way up to 2 weeks before December 2022 when we celebrate 11 years doing this. And I get to do that with y'all every single week for the last 2 years and beyond. That's what makes this so much better than anything else that I've done in radio. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you too, Steph. You get to take the con and take us home with your own rant and your closing that I will follow. I promise you my rant, my closing will be brief. I don't have a lot. I have something that I will say, but I don't have a lot. But it's your turn to go precede me, Steph. And I love that you speak before me, just because you have not only the penultimate comment of the show, but you usually have the key comment of the show. All I do is take us home. And so I appreciate you. I appreciate how you do. I appreciate how you sharpen iron. John and I usually use that term for each other as brothers and as men. but that is a unisex term, certainly when you in the room, because you sharpening every tool that you come across. So I appreciate you, my sister, and I love you. Let's get it. Last comment popped in. Let me read this comment in. Yeah, let me read it. Let me read this comment. Our brother Stewart is checking us out. Stewart says Marcus J, keeping it plain, straight, no chaser. Sad how many of our people know more about what's going on with entertainers than about the people, organizations, even the politics that's actually affecting their lives. John just did a huge rant about that. So you are right on money with that, Stuart. We appreciate you. Your support for as long as we've had your support is known, it's accepted, it's received, and it's appreciated. My brother, thank you. Rocks with you. Steph B, yay. Time for I just like doing that. Yeah, Bobay, yeah. Your rant, your close, what you got?
First of all, I want to thank you both. You always over deliver. Always over deliver. John, it is you keep me on my toes because your rant is always on point. I don't have to agree with everything you say for me to say that you are always insightful, impactful, and educational. And I thank you for that because you say things that other people may not have been educated on, and you don't need a degree to pick up some knowledge. And so the people who are listening are picking up knowledge every time they hear you. And I thank you for that. Marcus, as usual, I thank you for the hard work that you put into creating the platform and keeping it going. And even how meticulous you are about it says so much about who you are as a man. And I respect that. I truly do. And I thank you. I thank you for that. And I thank you both. You are truly, I truly spend very little time privately with men. My family is not here. And so you guys give me positive male interaction that doesn't require me to have to feel as though I'm defending myself. You respect my voice, and I thank you for that. And I'm saying that very specifically because my rant tonight, it's more of a reminder that while Black women have been deemed necessary for the labor that we put into the system, and I mean the system of Black America, we are labor. We have been labor. We want a soft life. People want us to be hard and have a backbone and be strong. And we deserve to have an opportunity to breathe. And yet our greatest value, I hear it all the time when men talk about why they love their wives or when children talk about why they love their mothers, it's always an act of service. Meanwhile, we are a community, Black women and Black girls, that has been historically underprotected, unappreciated, and uninvested in. And I say that tonight because Roger Galewski of Kansas City, Kansas, a detective of 35 years in Kansas City, Kansas, has been indicted. And this man has been indicted because the entirety of his 35 years as a detective, he chose the perfect victim. And the perfect victim was Black women. So he was sexually assaulting Black girls as young as 18. He was trafficking Black girls predominantly. He even, because a Black woman would not have sex with him, he criminally accused a Black man of committing a double homicide. And that Black man spent 20 some odd years in prison wrongfully and was recently awarded over $13 million and released. Black women have been used as pawns, have been used as tools, have been abused. And so when I talk about how we view each other internally, my call to action is to remember that how we view each other internally is literally the only protection that some of us will have. We do not have masculinity to protect us. Not even the strongest woman. You know, I was really good friends with a woman who was almost 6 feet tall. And I remember her telling me how she was often overlooked in her femininity. Black women are often termed as masculine simply because we have sisters in the LGBTQ community that go unprotected in 2 ways. One, as women, and 2, because of their sexuality. And there are people in blue uniforms whose blue uniform is treated as more important than that woman because she has brown skin. Roger Golubski is only being looked at for 3 indictments, but he spent 35 years trafficking Black girls, making money off of the undeveloped sexuality of Black girls. Meanwhile, some of you, the minute you see a Black girl dressed a certain way, term her grown. You hypersexualize her. Her autonomy or freedom and the ability to love herself is immediately turned into a think piece and a conversation about how grown she is. If you are spending time talking about how that young sister is dressing and she's grown and this, that, and the other, I need you to spend time talking about how society overlooks her humanity. Forget her clothing. Roger Golubski was called out by the NAACP 20 years before he was ever indicted. They said, you need to look at him. 155 of his arrests and cases are now being reviewed, but because he picked the right victim, Black girls and Black women, he was allowed to progress. As a matter of fact, the only reason he's being looked at now is because a Black man's life was important. I want you to understand that. Often in the conversation about Black oppression, Black women are left out. It's as though we never existed on a plantation. We didn't breastfeed Black men who were starving. We didn't birth babies that were going to be sold off. Black women are often left out of the conversation of oppression by other Black women because we have been trained to look out for the needs and to worry about the oppression of Black men who don't show up when it's time to march. You didn't see the Purple Power Ranger Israelites marching for Sandra Bland or anyone else. They came out for the stupidity that is Kyrie. When you say protect Black women, it should be at all cost. When you say protect Black women, it should not be questionable. When you say protect Black women, I don't want you bringing up, but what about? It is protection. It is the protection that we deserve. It is the protection that our daughters deserve, that our granddaughters will deserve. And just know this. If we are not protected within our community, we will not be protected without. And that's my rant.
Hey, I have Steppin, Marcus J, live from New Den, Legacy Internet Radio. You guys be bringing it home, man. And I appreciate it. Uncle H says that he remembers that story stuff. So, yeah, that part. And I have Steppin, Marcus J, live from New Den, Legacy Internet Radio. So this is the part where I take us home. I close us out with my own rant and my own closing. And I said that I will be brief, and I will. My rant tonight is a recurring theme with me. You know, we live a life of service. We live a life of taking care of other folks and making sure that other folks feel validated and feel empowered and all of those things. You know, if you are a person who lives your life based upon some sort of religious background, you know what it is when it comes to that, you know, and I understand that. I respect that. One of the things that we are often not taught to do is to love on ourselves. I'm at a stage in my life where I'm learning that, I'm embracing that, and I am empowering myself to be in that space. I got receipts. If you know me, I fucks with you. I always took care of you in the way that was appropriate for our relationship. I'm also one who uses the term same energy because it's a rare thing that I even get it back. So when we were talking about reciprocity earlier, it was really personal for me because it's just not something that I'm used to. It's just what it is. That's why I love y'all so much, John and Steph, and others whose names I won't name because they ain't here for me to get them flowers. But you were here, you know. If you've listened to the show, then you know who those folks are. Then there are others, for personal, private, and just none of your business reasons. I ain't going to call them out. But reciprocity is a real thing. That's the reason why context was different when we were talking about it before. But for the purposes of now, it's real important because life is hard, man. Life is hard. And we need to surround ourselves with people who understand that, who validate that, who try to take a piece of your world and make it a little bit not so hard while you do the same for them. Reciprocity. This weekend, I was blessed, man. I had an opportunity to share space with a mentor of mine who didn't know she was a mentor of mine until I had an opportunity to tell her this past Saturday. Before we get to Saturday, last Thursday, I was with another mentor of mine, my teacher, my yoga teacher, someone who I look to for wisdom and guidance and poses and all of the things. My brother Jay Miles, who one day I hope to have on this show. And I was telling him about the event that I was going to be at on Saturday. And when I shared with him who I was going to be with, he just was like, bruh, it's great. And you'll love it. And all of the things. And fast forward to Saturday, I had an opportunity to be a part of a mini retreat called Protect Your Peace. If you know me, you know I'm going to go to a retreat. It's called Protect Your Peace, right? You already know. You already know. And it was led by a woman named Faith Hunter. And it was also led by a woman named Shayna Latia. Now, one of the names you may know, the other name you should know if you listen to the show long term, because Shayna Latia has been a long time friend of mine, my sister, who was a huge part of this show in the 2015, 16, and 17 years. She's a medium. She's a yoga teacher. She's a sound healing expert. And she was participating in an event with Faith Hunter, who is a yoga teacher. She is a spiritualist. She is a self-made life coach and all of the things. She's an author and all of these great things. And I had an opportunity to do a session with the two of them together this past weekend. And one of the things that I mentioned when I was given an opportunity to speak, when you asked me, Marcus J., why I have shifted into this stage of life with regards to spirituality and yoga, and I smoke my weed, all the shit that I said earlier. This is a space where, as a black man, I could be safe because it's hard being a brother. We all have our challenges. Nobody wants to hear you crying in your beer over it. But reality is we all have our challenges. It's difficult. But for me to be a part of the yoga community, I've said the phrase, I found my tribe. I've said that. And I mean that. I've said that. But this weekend was another opportunity for that. When I looked around the room and I saw a small amount of brothers. It's only a few of us. Matter of fact, there was only 3. And there was a transgender man and an elderly white man. There's 5 men in the room. It's like 30 people. So you do the math on what that was. And brothers don't like to come to the space because they feel like it's a feminine space. I can dig it. Actually, I can't. But I can dig it. It's just a phrase that I use. I got a brother, whenever he sees me, he laughs at me. Full on guttural, fall on the floor, hold your stomach, laugh. Like, you be doing that yoga for real? Ha, 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 ha. But for me, and I get the validation all the time, and I got it this Saturday when I'm in this room, and I've been in yoga events with all men, not just all men, but all black men. So I have that experience as well. But when we go into the world as black men, there's an armor that we have to have on us, especially those of us with a naturally softer heart. We have to carry this armor because we don't want nobody to fuck with us. We have to carry this armor. It's hard. But when I'm in these spaces, I ain't got to do that because I know it's safe. And that's something I think we all need. Because who wants to be a tough guy all the time? I'm sure there are those who want to be. I ain't that dude. Now, I'll flip this fucking table if you come for me. I am a Gemini. But that's not where I want to be. We shouldn't trade off of difficultness. We shouldn't trade off of it being hard. We shouldn't trade off of hardness. It's a balance. It's a yin and a yang. And I think it's important for us to embrace that. I'm in a space where I'm learning it, and I appreciate the patience from those who love me. That's Marcus's unrelated rant. He ain't got nothing to do with being here talking about tonight. Uncle H got a comment slipped in. So let me get his comment in before I shut us down for real. Uncle H says, I go chair yoga. We need a teacher when I snowboard bird in Richmond beginning next month. Do chair yoga. Uncle H, I need you to holler at me when you come to Richmond. Man, I need you to holler at me when you come to Richmond. It would be an absolute unexplainable honor for me if you would allow me to take you to where I go with who I go with. And I just thank you for saying that. That's Marcus's unrelated rants got nothing to do with we in here talking about.
If Uncle H go, if I'm physically able,
we
there
gonna
too.
Go together. That's what it
I'm
is.
there. I'm in the chair next to you, Uncle H.
I love the uncle crowd.
Uncle H,
I
man.
love the senior man crowd.
Uncle
they just
H,
be the
man.
sweetest. And Uncle H really comes across like the sweetest.
You know what's funny about that? Like me and John, like we in the early stages of the Uncle H thing.
Y'all ain't there yet.
We know we not.
Yes.
We know we not.
I know I am.
You know,
listen, let me tell you, the average lifespan of a black man, the average lifespan of a black man in America is 72. So I was middle aged at 36.
I could dig it.
I'm about to be 55. I'm well on the back nine.
I may not do yoga, but I will show up and give you a big old smooch on the cheek because I just cannot wait to meet you.
Yeah, man. And Uncle H was here. He went to Croker Spot. I saw his picture and I missed him. And the irony is,
Mr. Always there.
The irony is, I was there that day later than what he was. Oh. That's the irony. But anyway, ain't no hashtag Marcus J, live from New Den, Legacy in that radio. That's the end of the show. Remind everybody, independence is the key to building your legacy. I want to say peace to all of the stars and all of the squares. And the abundance of water, the fool is thirsty. Those were the words of Bob Marley, who was singing until he ran out because I was talking through it. Uncle H says 74 OG, 75 next year.
Okay.
My man. Be blessed. Give grace. Keep it 100. And remember, authenticity has no competition. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J and Legacy Internet Radio and podcasting that we do here. The whole energy that we have, we're celebrating 11 years of doing this. No way I'm doing this. No way John's doing this. No way Steph's doing this. And no way we rocking with Uncle H unless y'all continue to support us. Ain't no half step with Marcus J live from New Den Legacy Internet Radio. We'll be back later on. We appreciate y'all. Peace, love, and soul. Not really sure why I did that, but it came up. It's what we did.
I love it.
Love y'all. Peace.
Oh, yeah. I'm with this, I'm just gonna lay back and I'ma drop some smooth lyrics. So tune in 7 to 9:30 and don't be late. I'm about to set it straight. Ain't no half stepping with Marcus J. Word. I'm ready. Let's go. Ain't no half stepping, that's the name of the show. Yeah. Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah. Hunters talk sprinkle with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you want to talk about, call it, we're hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. Yeah. The word on the street, Wizard Earl on the beat. We superb in the D, legacy online. Okay. 7 and 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepper with Marcus J, my brother. Yeah. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, we full force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk, running back. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, we full force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk. Steppin is the name of the show. Yeah. Marcus J hosting and we ready to go. Yeah. Hunters talk sprinkle with a dash of humor to the legacy listeners and the online viewers. What you want to talk about, call it, we're hearing you. Cover all topics, touch on the main issues. With the flow in this show, bring the heat. Yeah. The word on the street, Wizard Earl on the beat. We superb in the D, legacy online. Okay. 7 and 9:30, please be on time. Ain't no half stepper with Marcus J, my brother. Yeah. If they can't hang, word to their mother. And he been on this grind for a while. The brother so smart, plus brother got style. Up in Richmond, we on the mission, we full force. And listen up, this Marcus J start to talk.